There's a high of 62 this afternoon, breezy, a northwest wind gusting 25 to 30 miles per hour, and a quick sprinkle up near the Virginia line. Overnight, we're cooler, down to 40 degrees under clear skies, and we'll see sunshine tomorrow with highs again in the low 60s.
Weather update brought to you by Newcomb & Company, where your comfort is their business. Visit newcombandcompany.com. 3 o'clock check of your money. The Dow Jones currently down 396 points at 38,730. Market update brought to you by the Good Feet Store. Visit Stanford's 156th birthday bash. Saturday, April 6, 10:30 to 4. This is a free event happening at Sanford Fairgrounds. Get all the details at sanford150.com.
Love guarded by Keels, gets a screen, pulls up for three. Got it! Caleb from straight away! Jones with one. Jones puts it up at the buzzer. Yes! He ties the game!
Joyner with a long rebound, kicks ahead to Smith. 3-ball, right side.
Bang! Shotgun snap, Bryce Young, pressure off the backside. Throw to the end zone. Chark pulls it in with his fingertips.
And another chance, and the save's made by Anderson. And the fans will tell you, did you have a good night?
On Drive with Tim Donnelly on 99.9 The Fan.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan, live on a Thursday. I'm Tim Donnelly. Graham Hill here producing the show for us. We'll be checking in with Dennis, who you traditionally hear. A little bit later on in the show, he is out in Phoenix covering the Final Four. Don't know if you've heard of it. It's where the NC State Wolfpack are, the men's Final Four. The most anticipated to watch matchup of the upcoming weekend will be not you think it's going to be two teams, right? UConn and Alabama. Think it's going to be NC State and Purdue. No, the most anticipated watched matchup of the upcoming weekend is an individual matchup mixed within one of those games. It's DJ Burns versus Zach Edey. Part of it is because of the pure visuals of it. There aren't many people walking around that are 6'9", the size, the weight, the strength of DJ Burns, and there are even less walking around that are 7'4", the size, the strength of Zach Edey. And how those two teams decide to guard each other could easily be the thing that decides who advances to the national championship and who had a solid run to the Final Four. We've had some media availabilities, some locker rooms being open today, so we had a chance to talk to the teams. We mentioned that our very own Dennis Cox is out there covering the action. He grabbed some audio for us. Here's DJ Burns on what's being discussed about guarding Zach Edey.
Oh, we're just scouting him up the way we would anybody. He's a tall guy, and that's a good advantage, but, we're not treating him any differently.
I hope that's coach speak.
Fair enough.
I hope it's coach.
Okay, DJ.
You're not treating him any differently. He's 7'4", and he's averaging like 30 points a game in the tournament and 15 rebounds. I mean, I'm all for not, putting anyone on a pedestal, but not turning them into a superhero or a comic book villain. But at the same time, you better have something cooked up for him.
I mean, look, NC State's going to have their game plan for Zach Edey, but I kind of see where DJ Burns is coming from as far as, look, it is what it is. It's kind of like how other teams probably look at DJ Burns. Like, until you go out there and face him, that's really all you can do as far as preparation.
Well, I'm not sure I agree with that one. I look at it like other teams playing DJ Burns, they better know if they're sending a double. They better know if when they're backup center in, if he's actually trying to defend or if his nickname is 5 fouls for the day. Like, you have to know how to attack these guys because they're different. And if you go in saying, oh, we're gonna do the same thing against Zach Edey that we did against Quentin Post from Boston College because he's another 7-footer, you're gonna end up getting put on a poster. Like, there's a reason why Zach Edey is who he is. There's a reason why Player of the Year. There's a reason why he's put up the stats he's put up. And you have to prioritize either stopping him or maybe you go full, every once in a while you see someone do this where you're like, hey, Zach Edey, get your 35 and 18. We're going to stop everybody else. There's two ways to go about it, but you better have a plan. Don't just treat him like every other run-of-the-mill 7-footer. DJ Burns was also asked, how do you simulate guarding Zach Edey when they are practicing?
I mean, you can't really simulate height, but you can shoot some hook shots and, make some good moves.
How do you think they simulate you?
I have no idea. I hope it's a double team.
This first of all, I love that he said, I hope. I should explain what happened there. So the first question was that he started with his answer was, how do you simulate Zach Edey? And he said, you can't really simulate height, right? The way to do that, and we've seen it in the past with other like legendarily tall shot blockers, you get the broomstick out, right? And you have an assistant coach swatting with a 6-foot broomstick trying to simulate it. You can do that. And then the reporter asked, well, how do you think they simulate you? And DJ Burns' response was, I don't know. I hope they do it with the double team. I love that he wants to be double teamed. I love that. Absolutely. Because then he can pass out of it. He's a great passer. He can find the open shooter. The funny part is everybody is going to talk about the height. That's how he answered the Zach Edey question, right? You can't really simulate height. Can DJ Burns work his magic against a 7'4" player? Can he get his hook shot off against a 7'4" player of the year? Can he? I don't think that's the question. The question I have is all about weight. Because the thing about Zach Edey is he's not Manute Bol out there, right? He's not Sean Bradley out there. He's not Chet Holmgren out there. He's not even the current version of Victor Wembanyama when you look at body type. What he is a stronger, thicker, heavier guy. I just tried to name every super-duper tall, skinny guy that I could think of. DJ Burns' post moves, if you watch them, they are darn near unstoppable. At least they have been over the last 9 games. But they have a lot to do with him leaning on you, right? He catches it on the post, he turns around, and he's backing down, and he's putting his significant strength and weight on you, so then you have a couple options, right? You can brace yourself and make a wide base. Like think about when you're pushing like a car that doesn't have gas in it, right? You get low to the ground, you spread your legs, and you drive. You can do that to prevent him from pushing you down, or you can just get buried under the bucket by him backing you down. And then once you are braced like you're pushing that car, all of that weight on you, he can spin, your balance is off because the thing you were leaning against moves like you're pushing on a door that opens. So that's where he gets his magic from, right? And as soon as he sees you preparing for all that weight to be put on you, he already knows he has you, right? Because now he's in control of the situation. DJ Burns has worked against guys taller than him all year. He doesn't get someone that's as heavy as him that often. And I know he's listed at 275. I think he's somewhere he's over $3 bills. We'll call it that. So is Zach Edey. Zach Edey's listed at 300. Can he work his magic against somebody that might not have to get us out of a normal traditional guarding position to fight back? That's what I think it's about. It could, obviously 7'4" matters, don't get me wrong. And obviously his hook shot's going to have a little bit more arc on it, don't get me wrong. But the dude has prodigious touch. It strikes me as like his hook shot goes 1 inch higher than the hand of whoever's trying to block his shot. Like he has that touch, he has that depth perception, he has that feel. The thing we don't know is, does he have the ability to make that work against somebody that is his it's not even density. It's like, I'm trying to think of the best way to describe this.
The irresistible force meets the unmovable object for my wrestling fans out there.
Well,
WrestleMania
similar.
coming up this weekend.
What we've learned this year is if DJ Burns is the unstoppable force, he's gone up against immovable objects and he's gotten them off balance and moved them.
Yeah, he's faced Baycott, Filipowski in ACC play.
What I haven't seen yet is if he's the unstoppable force up against another unstoppable force. That's to me what we're getting to, right? Because Baycott got skinny this year, right?
Yeah.
P.J. Hall is a strong guy, big shoulders, not that kind of mass. Filipowski, same way, 7 foot tall, not that kind of mass. He's 238, 240, 245, whatever he ends up being. Zach Edey and DJ Burns are in the same weight class. Again, for wrestling fans, different kind of wrestling. They're in the same weight class. That's what I think it's all going to come down to. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. We're going to take a break. When we come back, there's another Final Four game going on. You wouldn't know that in the triangle, but Alabama and UConn are facing the winner of that one, and I want to look at Alabama and UConn for a second. Plus, we'll hear from one of the Elite Eight coaches. Brad Underwood, Illinois head basketball coach, joins us on the Heister Automotive Group hotline, in addition to some Final Four talk coming up next.
Dennis Cox here for my friends over at the Law Tigers. Big shout out to all 37,000 of you who signed up to win the custom HURRI-CONs Harley-Davidson Softail motorcycle that the Law Tigers, Tobacco Road Harley-Davidson, Shiny Side Paint, and your Carolina Hurricanes all teamed up together to give the ultimate Canes fan. It's going to be announced Friday. That's right, tomorrow, between the first and second period on the ice. Cannot wait to see who wins. Law Tigers, North Carolina's motorcycle lawyers. Law Tigers is a network of independent law firms who are members of the American Association of Motorcycle Injury Lawyers. Law Tigers is not a law firm.
Get crazy, Canes fans. It's hockey night in Carolina.
He scores! Dmitry Orlov picks the corner, and the Canes take a 2-1 lead.
Storm Watch with Adam Gold at 6:30. Puck drop at 7.
Second chance, they score! Jesper Fast knocks it home.
On your exclusive home for the Carolina Hurricanes, 99.9 The Fan.
Discover BetMGM, the sports betting app North Carolina sports fans turn to for nonstop buzzer-beating action all season long. You can take the hard-hitting excitement of March matchups to the next level with a lion's share of promotions and betting options. Hey, it's Victoria Vodnecker here for BetMGM, and whether you're cheering from courtside or from the comfort of your couch, BetMGM keeps the adrenaline pumping with every dunk, three-pointer, and buzzer beater. Join the excitement now with BetMGM. Plus, every time you make a wager, you earn BetMGM rewards points, which means you can turn the convenience of online betting into real-world rewards at one of MGM's signature resorts and more. BetMGM and GameSense remind you to play responsibly. See BetMGM.com for terms. 21 plus only, North Carolina only. Gambling problem? Call 877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov.
Is your heating and air system ready for hot weather? Call Newcomb & Company today to schedule a routine maintenance and ensure your system is operating at peak performance. Become a Comfort Contract customer to receive priority service and a 15% discount on service calls and repairs for HVAC and plumbing work. Newcomb & Company has served the area as a Carrier Factory authorized dealer for more than 3 generations. Turn to the experts today. Call 919-862-3000 or find us at newcombandcompany.com. Newcomb & Company and Carrier. Your comfort is our business.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same, but is 95% cheaper? And you can get it online? Go to hims.com/joy. Through Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, and the process is 100% online. To start your free online visit, go to hims.com/joy. That's HIMS.com/JOY.
What are you doing? I'm training for the new Ultimate Dash Scratch-Offs. I could get a chance to dash through a warehouse full of prizes. That explains the shopping cart. Plus, I could win up to $2 million in cash. And that explains the tuxedo. I'm chafing.
Feel the rush with new Ultimate Dash Scratch-Offs from the North Carolina Education Lottery. Must be 18 to play. Approximate overall odds of winning are 1 in 3.78. Problem gambling helpline 877-718-5543.
Did you know one of the best investments you can make? It's in yourself. At My Computer Career, in just a few months, you could start your new career in the high-demand, recession-resistant field of information technology. Isn't it time you invest in you and start a career in networking, cybersecurity, AI, or upskill to boost your current IT career? So, get the ROI you deserve at My Computer Career. No experience necessary. Start now at mycomputercareer.edu.
Financial aid is available for qualified students, including the GI Bill.
Timmy, everybody. Great job. Next up, we have Samantha.
10 times better performance can make a big difference. Castrol Edge Motor Oil gives your engine 10 times better high-temperature performance. Castrol Edge, better oil for maximum performance. Now through April 23rd, get a $15 gift card when you buy 5 or more quarts of Edge or Edge High Mileage Full Synthetic, only at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Claim based on Sequence 3 H test versus API SP test limits.
At the Original Mattress Factory, we know most people don't love mattress shopping. In fact, many dread it. And why wouldn't they?
Many mattress stores use high-pressure sales techniques like today-only pricing and tout features that don't really offer a benefit. They offer an overwhelming number of options to confuse things even further. At OMF, we do things differently. Our showrooms are easy to navigate, and our sales team actually cares. Our goal is to answer your questions, not pressure you into purchasing. OriginalMattress.com.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. We are expecting to hear from the head coach of Illinois, Brad Underwood. He is part of the Coaches vs. Cancer program. We'll be talking to him about that, as well as the UConn team that ended his run, what's going on in college basketball, and more. In the meantime, let's look at that Alabama and UConn Final Four. Right, we talked about it yesterday. The best coaches, the best teams try to win weekends in the NCAA tournament. What that means is on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, they're not just looking at their Saturday game. They're looking at the Saturday game and who they might be playing on Monday, because the ultimate goal is to win the whole darn thing. Alabama versus UConn. UConn has an all-time, I call it a fake chip on their shoulder. And now they had bad travel to Phoenix. They find anything to say they're being slighted.
There's a reason the Whalers left.
Dan Hurley. Oh, we have to play at 6:29 p.m. in the Sweet 16. Gosh, another thing that they're doing to hold us back. It's like, what's wrong with the 6:29 starting time, Coach? I don't know why that's.
Why would you not want to get your game over with?
I just don't get it. But they're playing. Apparently had some mechanical issues, some service issues. They didn't get into Arizona until 3:14 local time a.m. last night.
They also try to get the entire, not just basketball team, but the entire cheerleaders, marching band, all on the same plane. And it's just like, what?
You don't understand. This is what they have against them, Graham.
I mean, I guess, one UConn, one Husky family, one family for all.
The funny part is, I don't know if they need the slight on their shoulder. They have the advantages. Right, in that game, in UConn versus Alabama, UConn has the more future NBA players, Castle clinging amongst them, going to be high draft picks. They have the experience. They're the defending champ. They've been to the Final Four before. They have the coach with more experience, not just in winning championships, but this far into the tournament. That's Dan Hurley. But Alabama has the one thing. Right, we could, if we wanted to, and we don't have enough time before we hopefully hear from Coach Underwood, we could sit here and just list the things that UConn has as an advantage over Alabama. Or we could do the opposite and just look at the thing that Alabama is going to try to use to beat to beat UConn. The three-point shot. It is the ultimate equalizer, right? No matter how bad you are in the interior, no matter how inexperienced you are, no matter how less NBA talent you have, there's one thing you can always depend on to potentially pull an upset, and that's the three ball. That's the deep ball. Alabama is second in the country in three-point attempts this year. Nate Oates came in and said, you know what? Threes are worth more than two. Let's take a lot of them. They are second in three-point makes. They're 24th in three-point percentage, which is crazy when you think of how many they take. Normally, the top percentage three-point teams in the country, they take like 4 a game, right? They make 2. Look, we're a 50% three-point shooter. It's like, yeah, but you only take wide open shots and you only take 4 a game. Alabama takes the second most in the country, makes them in one of the top 25 clips. Alabama has a way to win that game. UConn is a monster. Do not get me wrong. UConn is an absolute monster. Alabama can win that game. There's one very direct path to them somehow figuring out a way to win, and that's if they catch fire from 3. It can come in a blink. If they hit 5 straight, whatever it is, the entire game can change. So watch for it, right? And if you're NC State and you're preparing to potentially play them, watch for it. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Now joining us on the Heister Automotive Group hotline, it is the head coach of the Illinois men's basketball team, just fresh off a run to the Elite Eight, Brad Underwood. Coach, thank you very much for taking the time to join us here. I want to talk about what you have going on with Coaches versus Cancer, but first a little bit of basketball talk. We were just talking UConn coming into the break. Obviously, you just got a chance to see them up close and personally in the Elite Eight. After that game, with kind of the 2020 hindsight, what do you see as the key for beating that team and attacking that defense?
Well, they're really good. Yeah, I think, and thanks for having me on.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're special in this way. They never have to help. They're really, really good on the ball defenders, Castle, Newton especially, and then Klingon in the middle is just different. I don't know any other way to describe him. He's 7'2". He's extremely long. He's athletic. Not your normal 7-foot plotter type guy. He's just different. He reminds me of a Rudy Gobert, the closest comparison I've seen. We were 0 for 19 in challenging him. Probably not very smart. We probably should have figured that out after 4 or 5. But those were the same shots we got all year, and we scored on people. Number 1 offense in the country. So they're very different. Their bench is very underrated, in my opinion. The quickness, but they're terrific on-ball defenders, and they have legitimate size. Our advantage all year has been, we've had great size on the perimeter. We start 6'6", 6'7", 6'7", and 2 6'10" guys. So we couldn't create help, and you've got to make shots. You got to make results to be able to beat them.
All right, Coach, you're breaking up a little bit here, so we'll try to keep it rolling. If not, we may have to see if we can't find a better connection. I did hear that you compared Klingon to kind of a Rudy Gobert, and I like the comparison game. So I don't know how much of NC State you've been able to see, but DJ Burns, I'm sure, has come into your view at some point in time. Can you compare him to someone with his kind of unique physical dimensions and skill set?
Well, he reminds me a lot of the big kid we had in terms of Kofi Coburn, in terms of physical size, where he can just dominate you with his physicality and his body. His skill set, I mean, he's a dancing bear. Great feet, tremendous hand-eye coordination, great IQ and feel. He's got some Jokic type of abilities, and he's been dominant throughout this run, and NC State's obviously riding the wave and the hottest team in the tournament.
Brad Underwood, Illinois head basketball coach, joining us on the Heister Automotive Group hotline. You bring up Coburn. You had a lot of success with Kofi. You look at this Final Four. There's Klingon, there's EDEY, and NC State, as you mentioned, kind of riding that wave of DJ Burns. Are you I don't know, going to go back to recruiting it like it's 1990, looking for all the best centers, and that's what's working in college basketball now?
Well, I think it's very effective. I do. I think that they're very hard to find. There's not many of them out there. I think that there's as long as we have 3 seconds in the paint defensively, those guys can camp in there, and size does matter. But you see the anti to that, which is Alabama, shooting threes, running, trying to create advantages other ways. And I think that's the way that you have to if you don't have one of those guys.
I did see you broke out the Super Soaker, and for those of you that haven't seen it, go check it out on social media. It's one of the more entertaining sites from March Madness this year. You broke out the Super Soaker after a tourney win. Which I'm a fan of, right? I think you can do both. You can enjoy it and stay locked in. But how do you balance that as a coach, kind of leading a group of young men through a up and down tournament while also understanding that you do have to have those fun moments?
The tournament has to be fun. Winning has to be enjoyed. in my opinion. And we do that all year. We celebrate winning. We ask our guys to practice really hard, to work really hard, be competitive every single day. And if you don't enjoy the wins, if you ever get to the point where it's just a relief to win, it can become miserable pretty quick. And, I've taken enough water baths throughout the course of the season. I just felt like it was time for me to pay them back. So we put the Super Soaker in.
And I have to imagine everything is recruiting, right? It looks like you guys are having a good time.
We had a blast. We had a blast. I love this team.
Your season ended on March 30th. You received a high-profile commitment from the portal, Jake Davis from Mercer, April 1st. You've talked about playing the portal game and recruiting while the postseason run was still going on. Do you see that as a problem for college basketball?
Yes.
Why?
I do. I think that we're dead during the Final Four. So why would we not be in a dead period during the NCAA tournament? It's the greatest event in college sports. And to have so many storylines be taken away because of a young person transferring. You get a superstar that transfers or enters the portal. That's what everybody's talking about. They're not talking about beating Auburn or NC State over this or that. To me, it takes away from what we're doing. I have better time to do it. And if we're going to go dead during the Final Four and not everybody worked, then why would we do it in the earlier? Like what the answer is, but I was making recruiting calls in between the Sweet 16 and the Elite 8 because of the portal. And I just, personal opinion, and I think there's a better way to do it.
I think there's a bunch of industries out there that are going, yeah, we should go dead during the tournament, at least the first weekend, so we can all sit around our couches and watch. Coach Brad Underwood, Illinois head basketball coach. I know you're doing some work with Coaches versus Cancer. What does that entail? And if there's a way we can help out, where should we go?
Well, we've got to get everybody to screen. And I think that's one of the things, coaches, that we're really pushing. And we have an event coming up here in Champaign that we have 1,700 people. We'll raise well over $500,000 for it. Cancer is, and coaches have done a phenomenal job. The 30-year anniversary of it started by Norm Stewart. And it's just a way to keep it at the forefront, keep it on people's minds. Don't let them forget we've all been touched by it in some way. And as long as we can do that, we'll eventually find the cure. And I'm just excited as heck to be able to, do my little part. But the more we do it, the more coaches we get involved, the more money we raise, the better chance we have to win this thing.
Coach, we appreciate you for taking the time. And because it's a 365 job now, good luck in the portal as soon as it opens back up, and good luck in recruiting.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Once again, that is Brad Underwood, Illinois head basketball coach, connecting with us on the Heister Automotive Group hotline. I feel like we do have to mention, right? Anytime NC State goes on a run in the NCAA tournament, and then you're talking about looking for a cure for cancer. Great work that Coach Underwood and all the coaches are doing with Coaches versus Cancer. There's obviously the legacy of Jimmy V. It's I think a really cool partnership when you can look at the health and vitality of all these young, unbelievable athletes, and then pair that with a chance to raise some money and raise some awareness to fight against cancer. So great work with Coaches versus Cancer, as you just heard Coach describe, and obviously the V Fund for Cancer Research also always at the front of the mind here in the Triangle. Also, I want to remind everybody, I'm Tim Donnelly here for my partners at DraftKings Sportsbook. The wait is over. An official sports betting partner of NASCAR is now live in North Carolina. Now you can legally bet on all your favorite sports anytime, anywhere, right here in North Carolina with DraftKings. For a limited time, new customers who sign up with promo code TIMD, T-I-M-D, and bet $5 will receive $250 instantly in bonus bets. DraftKings has the best features, including same-game parlays, player props, and more, with fast and easy payouts right at your fingertips. I'm sure there are quite a few people here in the state of North Carolina that took those bonus bets when they first became available, when sports gambling became legal March 11th, put it on a long shot to maybe win a big old championship during a big old tournament, and they're probably pretty pleased that they did so right now and having a really good time following that ride. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now using code TIMD, Tim D with no spaces, and bet $5 to get $250 instantly in bonus bets only on DraftKings Sportsbook with code TIMD. That's TIMD. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 877-185-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov. 21 plus, North Carolina only. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. Deposit and eligibility restrictions apply. Terms at DraftKings.com/sportsbook/NC. NASCAR is not a sponsor of this promotion and used under license. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we've talked a lot about DJ Burns. We've talked about some of the unsung heroes. What about the other stars, DJ HORNE and Mo DIARRA? How can they win a title for NC State? Coming up next.
The always ready for breakfast deal.
Going to bed already?
Yep. Breakfast at Mickey D's tomorrow.
So,
sooner I go to bed, sooner it'll be morning. Sooner I'll be at Mickey D's.
This is actually brilliant.
You can come too. Turn out that light.
There's a deal for every breakfast strategist at McDonald's.
For a limited time, you can buy a bacon, egg, and cheese biscuit or sausage, egg, and cheese McGriddles for only $2.50. Price and participation may vary. Cannot be combined with any other offer or combo meal.
QC Kinetics announces the arrival of National Medical Director Dr. Mitchell Scheinkup, an acclaimed orthopedic surgeon with 2 decades of experience and extensive research in regenerative medicine.
I was one of the first orthopedic surgeons to do it, and at the same time I integrated clinical research that's resulted in several publications that are really directing the future of regenerative medicine. I was drawn to QC Kinetics after I reviewed their protocols, and everything they were doing is consistent with my own approach.
Today, Dr. Scheinkup leads the entire team of medical professionals at QC Kinetics, taking this exciting medical breakthrough to a whole new level.
What we are doing at QC Kinetics is transforming lives.
Get lasting joint pain relief. Call QC Kinetics now for your free consultation.
This is the future of medicine.
Call QC Kinetics, 919-400-5473. That's 919-400-5473. In Cary, Clayton, Raleigh, and Wake Forest, 919-400-5473.
Imagine waking up this time next week and being 100% debt-free. No credit cards, no car loan, no personal loan. Hey, it's Dennis Cox. Loan Pronto's Equity Express line of credit can make it happen. Homeowners are turning their home equity into cash almost instantly. With Loan Pronto's AI-based system, you can get approval in about 10 minutes with almost no documentation, no appraisal, and no hassle. You can get hundreds of thousands of dollars out of your home. Use that money to pay off all your other loans. The average homeowner saves over $850 a month doing this. Listen, your home value is way up. You can use that to wipe out all those credit cards, get some money for a home improvement. Literally hundreds of thousands are at your fingertips, and approval is just minutes away. Call 919-381-1760, 919-381-1760, loanpronto.com, 919-381-1760, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval, equal housing lender.
What could be better than living less than 15 minutes from downtown Raleigh, where you'll soon find an expansive greenway network with walking trails, a pool with a lazy river, and a dog park? How about choosing from a diverse portfolio of plans, including large homes with a 3-car garage, or Charleston-inspired homes with rear entry garages? At Georgia's Landing by Mungo Homes, you'll find an exceptional location with an even better lifestyle. Go to mungo.com today to learn more about Georgia's Landing near downtown Raleigh. mungo.com.
It's the first day of the first grade, and she found a new best friend. It's a laid-back Sunday afternoon you wish would never end.
The homemade taste of Bluebell and good friends gathered round. The good old days are being made right now.
St. Louis brought the world gooey butter cake. Now Bluebell brings us gooey butter cake ice cream. A cake batter ice cream with a luscious cream cheese swirl and gooey butter cake pieces. It's the gateway to the best in pints and half gallons.
The good old days are being made right now.
The good old days are being made
for Bluebell ice cream, available at Publix, where shopping is a pleasure.
Tim Donnelly here for my friends at Zero Res. April showers bring May flowers. Well, how about this? Sitting on your couch in March brings crumbs and stains and spills on your carpet in April. That's where Zero Res comes in. Get your carpets cleaned. Not only is indoor air quality an issue year-round, but especially now that allergens and pollens are coming out of hibernation to invade your home. Get them all, the dust, the dander, everything out of your house using Zero Res. Get 3 rooms of your carpet Zero Resified starting at just $105. And if you get your air ducts cleaned, they'll clean your dryer vent for free. That's a $165 value. Call my friends at Zero Res right now. 919-995-0000 or go online at zeroresnc.com and say you want the 99.9 The Fan special. Zero Res. Spell it backwards or forwards. It spells the same, and your house will smell clean.
Get a great deal this spring on a new Trane heating and cooling systems. Trane systems are engineered to keep up with you. Visit TraneInfo.com to find your local independent Trane dealer and learn more. It's hard to stop a train.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. We will continue to have the DJ Burns conversation because he's a magnetic force. We've actually had a conversation about who's maybe an unsung hero on NC State. Yesterday, you can find it online, about Casey Morsell. I want to talk about the quote-unquote other stars, right? Because this was not a season when DJ Burns was always the best player on the floor. There were others that took that mantle at times. And I'm looking at 2 names. Other than DJ Burns, DJ Horne and Mo DIARRA, I believe, are the 2 most likely players for State to be like the Final Four most outstanding player, right?
Yep.
The mop. They're pretty darn good. And sometimes their role is to make sure they are good enough to keep the defense honest when guarding DJ Burns, and sometimes their role is to create on their own in different ways. Sometimes DJ Horne has to be like a 1997 shooting guard and get up volume shots and make enough of them to be an effective scorer.
Hand in the face, doesn't matter, pull up from long range.
Yeah, sometimes it's like Stephon Marbury style where you're just like, hey, Go be a Coney Island point guard, even though he's from Cary, which is fun.
Go be a town of Cary point guard.
There you go. Maybe mix the 2. Cary Island point guard.
Yeah.
Coney Island and Cary. Two areas that have a lot in common. It's fun to see that. And then Mo DIARRA on the other side is the player that I think is the most easily pointed to and say, his individual development had the most to do with NC State leveling up, right? DJ Burns, we saw last year, DJ Burns can get it done when he's cooking offensively. We saw all year DJ Horne was going to be leaned upon as a scorer. Mo DIARRA is the player that has expanded his role, his skill set. I don't know if he just learned how to do some of this. I don't know if he just revealed to the coaching staff that he was able to do some of this. I don't know if the coaching staff just finally decided that they trust him to do some of this. But about a month and a half, 2 months ago, right? Like in this calendar year, Mo DIARRA suddenly started like raising his hand and going, I can do that.
Yeah. Give me the ball.
Hey, like it's when I'm trying to think of a good example, a good analogy. Say you and
movie.
No, we're not going with a movie.
Come on,
real life situation. It's like you're living with 4 buddies in college, right? Off campus, super excited, right? In a house, you're not in the dorms anymore, and like the sink doesn't work. And you're like, oh, no, are we going to have to call the landlord? Was this something we did? Like, are we going to get in trouble? I don't have a bunch of cash. And then one of them raises his hand. He's like, oh, no, I can fix it. Now, my dad and grandpa are plumbers. I've been apprenticing as a plumber my entire life. And you're like, we lived in the dorms for 2 years together. You watched me struggle with that toilet for like 2 days. And now, where did that come from? I'm looking at Mo DIARRA going like, you're telling me you're a three-point shooter this whole time? Beginning of the year, Casey Morsell started in a shooting slump. Casey Morsell last year was a over 40% three-point shooter, really helped the team with his spacing. This year, early on, he was like a sub 30% three-point shooter as he worked his way through a slump. DIARRA didn't shoot.
Coincidentally enough, that's how I felt watching Mo DIARRA in that Florida State game towards the end of the season.
Just going like, wait, whoa. You're telling me you know how to plumb? You're telling me you can fix pipes? You're telling me you can shoot? And we didn't know? When a team struggles so aggressively, like they did in the regular season, and then unlock something in the postseason, you're looking for who is different. Part of it is Mo DIARRA is just playing better. Part of it is Mo DIARRA is doing something he wasn't doing, right? It's not just, hey, he's rebounding better. No, he's always been a good rebounder. It's not, oh, he's a good defender. No, he's always been a good defender. The shooting, where did it come from? He opened up the possibility of so much more. And I've said this before, but I'll say again, the shooting allows you to play both Mo DIARRA and DJ Burns at the same time. There were games where Ben Middlebrooks played 12 minutes, Mo DIARRA played 15 minutes, and DJ Burns played the rest, but they really didn't overlap much. Now, if I'm getting my DJs confused. If DJ Burns plays 40 minutes, Mo DIARRA played 38. And it's like, all right, they're right there on top of each other.
Well, it's like Kevin Keats said when he jokingly spoke with Adam Gold after they won the ACC tournament. Mo DIARRA has always been a big man that thinks he's a guard as far as being in the lane and then can step out and knock down a three-point shot. But credit to Mo DIARRA, just in this NCAA tournament, Gary Hahn in the newest episode of Pack Therapy, which is out now, even talked about towards the later part of the season, Mo DIARRA was playing good. But now in this NCAA tournament, he's playing great, and he has the confidence from his coaches to step out and knock down three-point shots.
And not let the rest of his game suffer.
Yeah.
Right? He's still rebounding like a menace when he's on the floor. Early in the year, he was playing 12 minutes a night, but on a per-minute basis, he was one of the best rebounders in the entire country. Now he's shooting more, he's playing more, he's dribbling more, like he's doing more of everything else, but he's still that rebounder. He's still that defender. It's a massive part of the improvement by NC State. Here's Mo DIARRA earlier today during their media availability on how to explain how he's been playing recently.
Man, I was like, I gotta play. Like, I got no excuse. Like, that's my region is not an excuse for me. I chose to do that. Nobody say, Mo, you gotta do this. It's just by myself. And I think God gave me the chance to ride at this moment. And I play well. I help my team, and the confidence is 100% now.
Yeah, I mean, whatever you attribute it to, just keep it up, right? It's one of those things where it's like, and don't touch anything. It's working. I've had headphones like that, where like one side of the headphones works and the other doesn't. And when you get that moment where both headphones are working, you're like, nobody move, don't touch it. I'm kind of like Mo DIARRA with that right now. I'm like, whatever's happening, don't bump into it. We got both speakers working right now.
Coincidentally enough, when I was with some of my buddies watching NC State's game against, who was it? They're all running together now.
If you describe the game, I know him pretty well.
Not Duke, not Oakland. Who was in between in the Sweet 16?
Marquette.
When Mo DIARRA actually was in the period where he could have liquids and eat after Ramadan.
Right at like 7:14 or whatever time they're able to eat.
Right. During that last media timeout, some buddies were like, all right, Mo DIARRA, go get some drinks. Go get some food. And the other half of the room was like, no, he's playing so good. Just let him keep going.
Like he's literally hungry, and he's playing hungry right now. No, what he's doing with that element of it is unbelievable. And that's kind of to the side of everything that's going on with basketball, because it's a life decision and a religious decision and those things. But to play with as much energy as he does, knowing that he can't rehydrate and can't get some food in his belly during daylight hours is unbelievable. And then let's ramp up even further. Then there's DJ HORNE. And DJ HORNE, to me, is an emotional leader of this team. He's from the area, as we mentioned. He understands the history of it. He references the 919, the area code of the area. He's very much entrenched in like I'm doing this for a purpose that is not just I want to be a good basketball player. He's doing this for something bigger than himself, which is why I think it's cool that we have some audio here on what stood out from him, because the NC State team this year was able to talk with the 1983 team, the last the Cardiac Pack, Jimmy Valvano's team, the last NC State team to win a national championship. Here's DJ Horne on what stood out to him.
I would just say just the fact that, seeing them kind of old in their age now, the fact that they still interact with each other the way they do, they say they can pick up the phone whenever. I think that really stood out to me, and that's why you play the basketball. It's not about right now. It's about later on in life, building those connections and everything.
I do always think that's kind of funny, because anyone that's ever played college sports gets the talk from the former great. I remember I played at the University of Delaware, played football, and Rich Gannon came back, and he played at Delaware, and he gave us the same speech, right? Some of the kids I met right here on this campus are my best friends to this day, and I went on to an NFL, all this, MVP, but, in my wedding was one of my college teammates, and you look around to, like, all your knucklehead friends, and you're like, really? This is who we're going to be, Dennis Cox, our producer on this show, traditionally is out at the Final Four covering, and I saw he posted a video of like 5 NC State players doing a TikTok dance in the locker room during media availability, and I'm thinking of DJ Horne getting like an emotional speech from the 83 team saying like, I still pick up the phone when I need some advice and call my buddy, call my teammate, call my brother, and they pick up right away and they're there when I need them. And then he's like, oh, that's cool. Then they walk into media availability, and they're like,
I'm 2 days into college.
5, 6, 7, 8. And it's like, great. This is who's going to be helping me make decisions in 40 years from now.
They need to quit that, right? The TikToks did not work for Duke when they were making them during the NCAA tournament. I'm just saying.
I don't think the
TikTok might be cursed.
I don't think the TikToks are the reason why it didn't work for Duke.
I don't know. I'm saying TikTok's cursed.
I'm not taking that. No, actually, NC State can't say it was the TikTok, because that takes away from them beating. Then it's like, oh, we didn't really beat them. The TikToks did. You have to say we beat Duke at full strength. That had nothing to do with any of their attention. But going back to DJ Horne. This is going to sound ridiculous, okay? This is going to sound crazy. DJ Horne saved their regular season.
Yep.
They were the 10th seed in the ACC championship. I don't even want to think of what that seed would be if DJ Horne wasn't a Spartan warrior at times, going out and putting the team on his back to win games. They'd be the 14th seed. They'd be Louisville, right? They'd have been the 13th seed. They would have had even less momentum. Maybe who knows how that would have affected the team. DJ Horne saved the season for NC State just to keep it like hanging on by a thread enough to be saved by everybody else. He's the perimeter answer to DJ Burns. He is a tough shot maker who has leveled up his game this year. Last 2 years at Arizona State, he averaged 12.5 points per game. This year, his first and only season back home in the Triangle, 16.8 points per game. Right? The DJ Burns hype is awesome. Guess who was their only all-ACC performer? It was DJ Horne. Right? He was a third-teamer. He was the guy that carried them for a large part of the year and kept the confidence just high enough to go on the run. And if Zach Edey has some success guarding DJ Burns, which is possible, I'm looking to DJ Horne to be the tough shot maker to get them through that, if they're going to get through that. He's next up on the call sheet. Those two guys have a chance to really, really make their mark on a Final Four run. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. The other thing, we have to address this. I know it's college basketball is playing out one of the few perfect things in college sports, which is the NCAA tournament. We just heard Brad Underwood, who made it all the way to the Final Four, the Elite Eight with his Illinois team, say that it's the best thing in sports. I'm partial to agree with it. The March Madness is perfect. And while that's going on, college football is trying to fix itself, which is such a drastic change, right? College basketball has something that is perfect that they keep trying to break by expanding and doing all this weird stuff. College football is trying to fix itself and is making almost no progress.
Yeah, they're having a maintenance off season, except the maintenance isn't really working. The mechanics can't find the right tools.
It's every once in a while you hear an athlete, a pitcher, be like, well, I'm just going to get my elbow cleaned up. It's going to be a scope. And then they go in there and it's like, well, he needs Tommy John and a complete rebuild. It's like college football thought they were going to go in for a scope, and they came out with like, well, we got a couple pig ligaments, and we put them in there, so you should be good in 24 months. Syracuse Chancellor Kent, this is all in an athletic the athletic article. Kent Syverud is the chancellor of Syracuse. Had maybe one of the most this is like a diss track against college sports line. This would be a hard line in like a Jay-Z diss track. The current model for governing and managing college athletics is dead. That's straight to the heart. And it becomes more interesting because Syverud is a part of what they're calling College Sports Tomorrow, also known as CST. This is all meeting. This has all happened recently. College Sports Tomorrow is a 20-person group, which includes the NFL's number 2 executive, Brian Rolap, Philadelphia 76ers owner David Blitzer, and lead organizer Len Perna of something called Turnkey ZRG, which is a search firm that places nearly all the top conference commissioners in college sports, including recently the Big Ten's Tony Petitti. Petitti? I don't know how to pronounce it. CST got together, and they are proposing drastic changes to college football. And do you know what's crazy? I don't hate them all. They proposed a relegation system where there's the top 70 programs, then another 50 that can work up and down. Some of the more drastic, crazy things that like you and your buddies talk about how awesome college sports would be or college football would be if they could do this. Right? You're on a back deck somewhere during a barbecue. One guy's on the grill, one's sitting at a table, and he goes, you know what would be cool? If there was like European soccer promotion and relegation in college football.
Boston College versus Georgia Tech this week 11 game on a Thursday night. Like loser
goes to the Sun Belt.
Yeah.
Like and then there's, Coastal Carolina against App State. Winner goes to the ACC. And you talk about how cool that would be right up until the chicken skewers, the chicken kebabs are done on the grill. Then you go inside and you never talk about it again. CST are a lot of really powerful people having that same conversation. I think there's some stuff that should be entertained. They have 8 divisions in this new thing, so there would not be a selection committee. There would be 8 teams from each division that go. 8 wild cards from the other top tier would go to the postseason. There's a 16-team playoff. But do you know why this won't work? Because nobody, and this is my biggest pet peeve in all of college sports, nobody is thinking about what's best for the sport. Nobody is thinking about what's best for the athlete. In the article by The Athletic, thus far, this is a direct quote, thus far the group is struggling to gain traction with the schools that would play in their proposed Super League. Leagues have been hesitant, and they've canceled meetings so as to not upset their current broadcast partners, including ESPN and Fox, according to one executive briefed on the commissioner's thoughts. Money. They don't want to upset the broadcast rights. So if this CST, this College Sports Tomorrow, if this group of forward-thinking individuals want to quote-unquote fix college football, guess what? They have to stop thinking about what's good for the players, what's good for the sport, what's good for the health of the sport, and they have to start thinking about what's good for the broadcast partners. What gets the most money into the pockets of ESPN and Fox and CBS and all of these other and Amazon and Netflix and whoever else you want to throw in there, because that's the only way any change is going to happen. And it's very, very difficult to find those unique win-wins in college sports when it is great for the players, win, great for the schools, win, and great for the broadcast partners, win. So you don't even have to find the difficult win-win. You have to find the win-win-win. It's like looking for a 5-leaf clover. Right? You can find a lot of 3-leaf clovers. You can even find a couple 4-leaf clovers. You got to find like the 17-leaf clover to make all this work, to keep all those people happy. And in actuality, it should really just be one thing you're looking for. What's best for the athletes? But that's not how it works. And that's why it's frustrating. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. So I'm going to enjoy college basketball while I can, because there's one perfect thing in college sports, and it's the college basketball NCAA tournaments. So I'm going to enjoy them this weekend. I'm also going to enjoy telling you about my friends over at Miller Lending, and of course that includes Gordon Miller, who, by the way, massive sports fan. He can talk to you about your mortgage. He can talk to you about interest rates. He can talk to you about why a no closing cost loan allows you to be more flexible and adaptable as rates drop to make sure you are ready to pounce and get the best rate on your mortgage. He can also go back and forth with you about, every different conference in college sports. It's you can get it's a one-stop shop. Just because rates are up right now, and now we're back to talking about interest rates, doesn't mean you should be paying $4,000, $5,000, $6,000 in closing costs. What you should be doing is paying as few closing costs as possible, and then preparing to do it again and again and again as rates drop and you refinance. It's what Miller Lending can do for you. No closing costs means no closing costs. No fees means no fees. Zero means zero. Give them a call, 919-447-3377. That's 919-447-3377. Or you can go online to millerlending.com to learn more. That's millerlending.com. Miller Lending is an equal housing lender, NMLS number 250-2146. We're going to take a break. When we come back, football at 4. We ask a hard question for a hard truth about the Carolina Panthers next.
Bring on the madness.
Final score, 76-64. The Wolfpack beats Duke. You can light up the bell tower red. The Pack is back in the national semifinals for the first time since 1983. NC State beats Duke for the second time in the month of March, this time for a trip to the Final Four. Incredible.
College basketball tournament action on 99.9 The Fan is powered by Carolina Ale House, Fairway Green, and Bailey's Fine Jewelry.
What is a home? Most of us think of our homes as a place of safety and comfort for our families. My name is Keith Gregory, Vice President with Home Exteriors by Baker Roofing, but more importantly, a homeowner like you. We treat every home as the sanctuary it is, transforming and preserving homes with roofing, siding, window, door, and gutter services. I would like to invite you to join the thousands who have trusted us with their homes. Visit bakerroofing.com for a free consultation. That's bakerroofing.com.
The moment we've been waiting for has arrived. Download the Caesars Sportsbook app today using code NEWNCBG. Then place your first bet of $5 or more. Win or lose, you'll receive $150 in bonus bets. Open to new users in North Carolina who are 21 or older. Terms and conditions apply. See Caesars.com/promos or the promos tab in the app for full terms. Gambling problem? Call 1-877-718-5543 or visit morethanagamenc.gov. Tribal Casino Gaming Enterprise is a licensed operator by the North Carolina State Lottery Commission.
My kids call me Tom. So unnerving. Every day, the older one's like, "How you doing, Tom?" I go, "Hey, I'm not your fucking stepdad, all right?" I wish I was. It'd be a lot easier, but I'm not.
From his multiple Netflix specials, comedian Tom Segura brings his new tour, Come Together, to PNC Arena Raleigh, April 14th. Tickets on sale now at Ticketmaster.com or PNCArena.com.
What are you doing?
I'm training for the new Ultimate Dash Scratch-Offs. I could get a chance to dash through a warehouse full of prizes.
That explains the shopping cart.
Plus, I could win up to $2 million in cash.
And that explains the tuxedo.
I'm chafing.
Feel the rush with new Ultimate Dash Scratch-Offs from the North Carolina Education Lottery. Must be 18 to play. Approximate overall odds of winning are 1 in 3.78. Problem gambling helpline 877-718-5543.
Where'd y'all go last week?
Well, we've been watching our budget.
So no going out?
Oh yeah, we're going out, just hitting all the specials. First, we hit the House of Hops. That's Jerome's favorite spot. Big savings on Monday and Wednesdays. Mix and match craft beer and 25% off on to-go growlers. Oh, it's a great place to relax.
You know, the Mix has some good specials and they're across the street.
You have to check out their wine tastings once a month and their live music schedule, plus $5 draft beer on Thursdays. Then Saturday, it's salt and lime brunch, and Monday they have $5 margaritas.
Wait, what about Sharkies?
Oh, sweetie, you know Sharky's is special all the time.
So you're just going in a circle. House of Hops, Salt and Lime, the mix, then Sharkies. House of Hops, Salt and Lime, the mix, then Sharkies. Sounds like a vicious cycle.
Well, I wouldn't say it's a vicious cycle. More like a wonderful cycle.
Yeah, sounds like a cycle I need to be riding.
House of Hops, the mix, Salt and Lime, and Sharkies. Definitely a cycle you should be riding. Hope to see you soon.
Organize easy. Organize tough. Customize your work truck or van with upfit solutions from Van Products. Steel and aluminum shelving, toolboxes, data files, cabinets, drawers, conduit carriers, ladder racks, everything safe and secure. Everything built as unbreakable as you by Adrian Steel. Backed by the best warranty in the business. 3 years, 36,000 miles. Everything custom installed by Van Products so you know it's done right. From a single work rig to a fleet, choose custom installed upfit solutions from Van Products.
If you are among the 6 million Americans living with Alzheimer's or care for someone with Alzheimer's or dementia, there is free help and support available 24/7. Visit alz.org or call 800-272-3900.
This hour on the Triangle Sports Leader is brought to you by the Ritchie Law Firm Injury Lawyers.
You can feel the madness!
Go to GotBryan.com. That's GotBryan.com.
WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. Take us with you on radio, web, app, Alexa, and YouTube. 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
I'm WRAL meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner. Definite change in the weather pattern, a quiet period for the next several days, but cooler than normal with a high of 62 this afternoon. And it does stay breezy with a northwest wind gusting 25 to 30 miles per hour. A chilly 40 degrees tonight under clear skies, and it stays cool tomorrow with sunny skies and a high of 61.
Weather update brought to you by Newcomb & Company, where your comfort is their business. Visit newcombandcompany.com. 4 o'clock check of your money. The Dow Jones is down 529 points at 38,597. Market update brought to you by the Good Feet Store. You're invited to Sanford's 150th birthday bash, Saturday, April 6, 10:30 a.m. to 4. This is a free event happening at Sanford Fairgrounds. Get all the details at sanford150.com.
Let's move the chains. Time for football at 4.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. It is time for football at 4. And football at 4, we're going to start with a philosophy question. Right? Like it's college, you're used to 300 people lecture halls, and then you get the philosophy class with like 12 people and you sit in a circle, Indian crisscross applesauce on the floor.
And then after a week it's down to 6 and so many people are like philosophy.
And then the teacher is like, let's go sit under a tree for today's class. ESPN put out a list of the top draft needs for each NFL team. Obviously the Panthers were on that list. The philosophical question is, would it have been easier to list the positions that they don't need rather than listing the ones that they do? They put out a top 3 needs. I went, that is just the beginning. That is the preamble. That the top 3 needs for, and by the way, top 3 for 10 teams in the league is too few. For the Panthers, it's way fewer. They put their top 3 needs, the Panthers, right? This is top 3 draft needs: outside linebacker, wide receiver, and center.
Wide receiver, yes.
I put together my own list, but I call these just their drastic draft needs, right? Because I think they're borderline, other than quarterback, there's not really a position I would be like, they don't need any help there. But these are my drastic draft needs for the Panthers. Outside linebacker, wide receiver, center, corner, safety, tight end, running back, and defensive end. And some of those categories, I think they drastically need multiple guys. That's a problem, okay? That's a problem. And you know how it gets worse? They traded away Brian Burns for draft capital, and I know some of it is in the future, but they traded Brian Burns away for draft capital, They still only have 7 picks. They have no first-rounders. They have 4 picks in the first 4 rounds, 2 of them being seconds. They have 7 picks, 8 positions of drastic need, a few others that I wouldn't call drastic, but they're still needs, and then a few of those drastic needs, you need multiple players. And free agency has kind of been coming and going, and they haven't exactly filled a lot of them. So the philosophical question is, do you draft players to fill those needs, or do you draft best player available and literally start as if, you have so many holes that it just turns your entire roster into a hole? You have so many gaps in your roster that, filling them is almost a moot effort. I genuinely think this team does not have, outside of quarterback, does not have a position that if they drafted a player, I would be upset with. If they told me 3rd-round pick, we took a guard, and they just spent $153 million over the next 4 and 5 years on 2 massive guard contracts, guess what I would say? That's fine. If they said he was the best player available on our board by a long shot, and we just are in the business of bringing talent onto our roster of any kind. So, yeah, we have our 2 starting guards, but we think this guy is a starting caliber guard in the NFL right now. I'm fine with it. They can't pass up value. And then it's a flex by Dan Morgan, right? Then he's saying, listen, here's what's going to happen. He's going to play really well in the preseason, right? He's going to look good every time he's on tape. If there's an injury to one of those 2 guys ahead of him, he's going to play well. And then we have a trade chip. And then I'm going to turn that 3rd-round pick into a 2nd-round pick. And if that means that for this year we don't get the most value out of that pick, guess what? And he's not going to say this, but he's going to say it in his actions. We're not winning the Super Bowl this year anyway.
Yeah.
Like, I'm big on every single NFL team having one goal. That goal is to win the Super Bowl. Right? There was just actually, I don't know why I was watching this. Something on social media popped up, and it was about a guy that won the Powerball like a couple years ago. He won, I don't know, $2 billion, something ridiculous. And in the video I watched, it said it was like he 1 out of 320 million, billion, trillion, whatever the odds were, right? Every NFL team is 1 out of 32. Now, obviously, the worse you are, the longer your odds get. But there's only 32 teams. This isn't winning the lottery. 1 out of 32. Your goal should be to win a Super Bowl. Your goal shouldn't be like, well, we want to stop being embarrassed. Well, really? Like, hey, like there are baseball teams that are like, as long as we're finishing above 500 every year, we're good. Some might even think in baseball finishing above 500 is a pipe dream, right? Pirates. Like there's certain teams that I hate that. And if you can't win the Super Bowl this year, right, and you have to be honest with yourself, look at your roster and go, are we a legitimate contender? If you can't win a Super Bowl this year, can you win it the next year? Can you kick some of the value from this year into next year? Can you, like, they have the 33rd overall pick. We've talked extensively, and we will continue to talk extensively about what they can do with that 33rd pick. If you told me you could get 2 second-rounders next year for that 33rd from a team that you think is going to be bad, right, and they got to pick from somewhere else, like if you think they're going to be 2 top half of the second round, you have to take that deal. Because then you're like, well, the following year we might be closer to winning a Super Bowl, and this year we're not doing it. You can put together a list of like, this is what it is, right? I'll use the legendary analogy of building a football team, right? I believe it was Bill Parcells. You can't ask me to cook the dinner if you don't let me buy the groceries. We'll talk about cooking dinner, right? We'll talk about cooking dinner. So here you go. You're trying to make the Panthers are trying to make. What's your favorite meal, Graham?
Hibachi chicken.
Hibachi chicken. Goodness gracious, I have no idea what's on there. So let's go with spaghetti and meatballs.
Okay.
You went with hibachi chicken. Do you know how to make hibachi chicken, or is that like what you order?
No comment.
You know, it was something from like you had to spend 4 years at the Cordon Bleu Culinary Institute.
I mean, chicken, vegetables, rice,
Okay,
zucchini.
all right, fine. Chicken, vegetables, rice, zucchini. Perfect. We'll go with hibachi chicken. I'm making hibachi chicken. You're going out to the store, and I'm like, hey, I need you to pick up a couple ingredients. They're like, great, what do you have? Well, I don't have the chicken. I don't have the rice. I don't have the vegetables. I don't have the zucchini. You're like, you're not cooking hibachi chicken. You could cook anything, right? Like you could cook any meal in the world. Just tell me what you want me to go get. I'm going to the grocery store. You could cook steak. You could cook spaghetti and meatballs. You could cook pizza, right? Because you don't even have the semblance of it. That's closer to where the Panthers are than me telling him to go to the store and just going, I need you to pick up a zucchini. I thought I had one and I don't. That's the move. That's the problem. They're so far away that they don't even know what they need. ESPN tried to say you need a linebacker, a wide receiver, and a center. They don't even know they need that because they're so far away, they don't know what they're building. Best player available. If it happens to be a position of need, you thank your lucky stars. But best player available. I should get it like put on a poster somewhere. BPA, best player available. Oh, but we have Jadeveon Clowney at defensive end. So? If the best player available is a defensive end, you take him. Oh, I still think J.C. Horn is good enough to be a number one cornerback. So? If the best player available is a corner, you take the corner. There is no such thing as a position of need when everything is of need. Aside from quarterback, because that's a different beast. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Coming up in the next half hour or so, we're going to hear from Dennis Cox, our very own, who's out in Phoenix covering the Final Four. And Graham and I will give you our HURRI-CONFIDENCE and our HURRI-CONCERNS. What are we most confident in? What are we most concerned about when it comes to the Hurricanes? Stick around.
Hey, brides and grooms, looking for an unforgettable way to celebrate your last shot before tying the knot? Well, head over to Deep River Sporting Clays and Shooting School. Dennis Cox here for my friends over at Deep River. Look, bring your wedding party for an adrenaline-pumping day of clay target shooting in a stunning natural setting that's just minutes away from the heart of Raleigh. Make your bachelor or bachelorette party one to remember at Deep River Sporting Clays. Book today at deepriversportingclays.com. Let the adventure begin. deepriversportingclays.com.
Get crazy, Canes fans. It's hockey night in Carolina.
He scores! Dmitry Orlov picks the corner, and the Canes take a 2-1 lead.
Storm Watch with Adam Gold at 6:30. Puck drop at 7.
Second chance, they score! Jesper Fast knocks it home.
On your exclusive home for the Carolina Hurricanes, 99.9 The Fan.
It's bow time. Something new just dropped at Bojangles. Take the bold taste of a crispy golden chicken supreme that's been seasoned to perfection, then add dill pickles, Carolina Gold barbecue sauce, and a toasted bun that's great on the go. What do you get? You get a Bo's Bird Dog. In fact, you can grab 2 of them for $5. So when you're on the go, headed to practice, or need a snack, grab a Bo's Bird Dog. Hurry in before they're gone. Available for a limited time. It's bow time.
There's no time like bow time, but sometimes it's go time. No time to stop. Introducing Bojangles' new Bird Dog, a seasoned to perfection Bojangles Chicken Supreme, dill pickles, Carolina Gold barbecue sauce, all on a toasted bun. Great on the go. Try 2 Bird Dogs for just $5 or a 2 Bird Dog combo for just $8. Hurry, Bo's Bird Dogs are available for limited time only. When you're hungry for flavor and value, it's bow time.
At Bet365, we don't do ordinary. We believe that every sport should be epic. Every point, every game, every layup, every play. From the moments that are legendary to the ones that fly under the radar. Whether it's a three-pointer at the buzzer to tie the game or a player goes 2 for 2 at the free throw line. Whatever the sport, whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365, official partner of the Charlotte Hornets. 21 plus only. Gambling problem? Call 1-877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov.
Imagine waking up this time next week and being 100% debt-free. No credit cards, no car loan, no personal loan. Hey, it's Dennis Cox. Loan Pronto's Equity Express line of credit can make it happen. Homeowners are turning their home equity into cash almost instantly. With Loan Pronto's AI-based system, you can get approval in about 10 minutes with almost no documentation, no appraisal, and no hassle. You can get hundreds of thousands of dollars out of your home. Use that money to pay off all your other loans. The average homeowner saves over $850 a month doing this. Listen, your home value is way up. You can use that to wipe out all those credit cards, get some money for a home improvement. Literally hundreds of thousands are at your fingertips, and approval is just minutes away. Call 919-381-1760, 919-381-1760, loanpronto.com, 919-381-1760, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval, equal housing lender.
Did you know one of the best investments you can make? It's in yourself. At My Computer Career, in just a few months, you could start your new career in the high-demand, recession-resistant field of information technology. Isn't it time you invest in you and start a career in networking, cybersecurity, AI, or upskill to boost your current IT career? So, get the ROI you deserve at My Computer Career. No experience necessary. Start now at mycomputercareer.edu.
Financial aid is available for qualified students, including the GI Bill. Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same but is 95% cheaper? And you can get it online at hims.com/joy. Through Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation to determine the ED medication that's best for you. Discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and a range of treatment options, including trusted generic alternatives to the name brands, at up to 95% off. ED is personal, and at Hims, so is treating it. Just go to hims.com/joy and get connected to a licensed medical provider online for free, with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy for your free online visit, hims.com/joy.
But to play great defense, you need one thing above all else.
That starts with a W.
Confidence.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. It's time for HURRI-CONFIDENCE and HURRI-CONCERNS. It is a play on one of the games we really enjoy here, Confidence and Concerns, Cons and Cons. But this time, it's about the Hurricanes. What are you most confident in? What are you most concerned about? And it's becoming more real because the postseason is getting near. So what are you concerned about becomes a bigger deal. What are you confident in becomes what you're going to build your postseason run on. As always, I have good news and bad news. Which do you want first? You always say bad news. I'll go first. And I have to admit, when it comes to concerns, I struggled.
No, I did too.
I'm
glad we're on the same page with this.
I mean, I was going to spin zone some stuff. I was going to find, something creative. I was going to maybe make a joke. I'm grasping at straws. The only thing I could come up with is...
It's a good problem to have, though.
Great problem to have. I mean, that could be my concern, my confidence is that I couldn't find a concern. My concern is, and this is grasping at straws, I know. It's a first-class problem, right? My private jet takes too long to refuel, but it is a problem.
Or to take all, yeah.
Is goalie in the postseason, is goalie kind of like quarterback, where if you have two, it's kind of like you don't have one? Meaning, I don't think they're going to go one game like they've been going in the regular season in the postseason. But are you real? Each of them just had a shutout. Like their most recent start was a shutout. Are you really going to take one of those guys and say, yeah, you're not our guy for the postseason run? And how does that affect the team, right? Because Freddie, quite honestly, Freddie's playing better. But Piotr's been there all year, right? He's been through the battles with this team. It's just, again, grasping at straws. I completely understand having two goalies playing really well is not something most teams would be concerned about, but there are some weird social dynamics with the way they've gotten to this point. So it's not a concern, but I needed a concern, so it's my concern.
I think you gotta go with Freddie. I get
your concern is Freddie.
No. I'm saying
you're choosing. Yes.
In the playoffs, game one, PNC Arena, hopefully, because hopefully the Hurricanes will clinch home ice advantage. You got to go with Freddie just because of the veteran presence. I get Kochetkov has been there the entire season, but Freddie's Freddie, man. Freddie is Freddie.
I completely agree with you, and I'm not arguing against it. I'm just wondering if there's not a few like, that's a bummers, right? And with such a strong call. Again, I started this whole thing by saying it's not really a concern. But is there a better than zero? Is there a 0.2% chance that it turns into something?
The only concern that I could see it being is just Kochetkov maybe gets a little frustrated.
Or
I'm not saying it's going to cause a rift.
Kochetkov's best friends are a little frustrated, like a little rift in the locker room.
Yeah.
It's a point. I'll go 0.02%, but it's a percent that is not zero. What's your concern?
My concern, the parking fee hasn't gone down. No, I'm kidding.
My concern is
the playoff tickets are just wildly expensive there now. And so, again, grasping at straws.
Media Row becomes more crowded during the postseason.
Is my spot going to be reserved still for the playoffs? No. Again, kind of grasping at straws here. I think it's just returning to action tonight following a 5-day break. I mean, you can make two arguments. One is great. You get your legs back underneath you. And the Hurricanes just came off a grueling stretch.
Mm-hmm. You could argue this is kind of the perfect time for your last break because you still have, 7-8 games?
7 games left.
7 games. So it's like those are your knock the rust off games. But you have a little bit of fresh legs. But, I mean, you're always worried coming off of some kind of a break.
But within those 7 games, you could make an argument that the Hurricanes, I don't want to say have the toughest remaining schedule in the NHL, but
Bruins a couple times, including tonight.
Bruins twice, including tonight, and they're currently first in the Atlantic Division, second overall in the Eastern Conference, and third overall in the league. Then they turn right around and play the Washington Capitals tomorrow night at home. The Capitals are making one last push thanks to Alec Ovechkin doing Alec Ovechkin
And there's
things.
some emotions there for Orlov and Kuzi.
Exactly. The Capitals now 4th overall in the Metro Division, 2nd overall in the wild card standings behind the Lightning, 8th in the Eastern Conference, and 7th overall in the league. And then you wrap up the last home game of the regular season with the Blue Jackets, who are 8th in the Metro. That's about all you can say about the Blue Jackets. But then you go and close out the regular season on the road at Columbus, and depending on where the Blue Jackets season's at that point, that might be their Stanley Cup playoff game.
There is a St. Louis and Chicago game mixed in there also. So
yes.
They're not all the toughest games in the world. Let's get to our confidence quickly here because we're going to be talking with Dennis soon. My confidence is the first line. Aho, Jarvis, Gensel, Aho, Jarvis, Aho, Gensel, like whatever order you want to put them in. And here's the thing. It's because of all three. This is my crusade for like my talking point for talking about these guys. I've talked individually about all of them. And I think it's because they've all been playing well. And at times they all get swept under the other. Like Gensel shows up. He's got double-digit assists. He's creating all these. Everybody wants to talk about Gensel. Jarvis is doing the things that you need to do to play for Rod. He's forechecking. He's defending. He's giving his body up. He's getting in front of the net and creating ricochets. He's doing, and that becomes a thing. And then Aho has a streak where he has multi-point games and a bunch in a row, and a game winner in OT and all of a hat trick. And then they're all kind of like under talked about because the others are doing so great, and then they're talked about, but the others are under talked about. So now, like, anytime I talk about these guys, I'm talking about all three. It's because they're playing well. It's because they're playing well together. It's because they get it. It's because they understand their roles. Those three, I trust. If you're down 2-1 in a postseason game of a must-win game, and there's 5 minutes left, and they're starting their shift, I trust that they have about as good a chance as any line in the NHL to come away with that goal that you need to tie it up, and that is because of all three of them, not because of any one or two.
The penalty kill. Kane's penalty kill. Yep, that's my confidence. 3 for 3 against. I'm a man of special teams. 3 of 3 against the Canadiens on Saturday. Why did I say it like that? Improving to 76 for 84 over the last 26 games at a whopping 90.5%. They held their opposing power play scoreless in 25 of their last 31 contests, including 13 of their last 14 games. Carolina's 53 games without a power play goal allowed are the most for any teams in the 2023-2024 season.
Now it's time to update the HURRI confidence meter. Bring it up. There you go. For those of you watching on YouTube and on our multiple video streams, the HURRI confidence meter is set to plan the parade. And it hasn't moved. Last week, I got my checks and balances system in here. I had my confirmation when we brought in Adam Gold, and he said, no, it's in the right spot. It's playing the parade. You know, I've mentioned some of the teams that I grew up rooting for, one of them being the New York Mets, and Adam Gold also is a Mets fan. So I think we both have that natural put in us feeling by the Mets that, like, when things are going too well, you start to look around going, what am I missing? So it had been, I had set the HURRI-CONFIDENCE meter at Plan the Parade pretty much at the trade deadline, and it hadn't moved. They hadn't given me reason to waiver it. They haven't given me reason to move it back. And so I just brought in the check of, like, am I missing anything? Nope. Plan the Parade. This team is ready to win a cup. Now it's about execution, right? There's no, oh, darn, they weren't good enough at fill in the blank, right? There's no, oh, they would have won the cup if fill in the blank. If they had a better power play, if they had a better penalty kill, if they had a better goalie, if they had a better, there's nothing is if they had a better. Now it's just about going out and executing. It's making sure that you take care of your business when the business is there to be taken care of. That's why the confidence meter is at Plan the Parade. That's why we're not moving it. And I'm a little disappointed because I actually think in our little HURRI-CONFIDENCE meter here, the more creative answers are towards the back end, and we haven't been there all year, right? Go back to Hartford. Can Justin Williams suit up? Those are more creative. Plan the Parade. This might be our year. That's where they've lived for most of the year. In Rod we trust. That's where they've lived for most of the year on a HURRI-CONFIDENCE meter towards the right side, the good side, and those are good. They're just a little less creative. With that being said, we're getting set here to talk on the Heister Automotive Group hotline to our very own Dennis Cox, who is out in Phoenix covering the Final Four, where the NC State men are getting ready to take on Purdue this weekend. The road to Phoenix on 99.9 The Fan is built by Mungo Homes, ranked number 5 top workplace in the country, building homes and dream teams for 70 years, which is allowing us to do some really cool things, including sending Dennis Cox to Phoenix. And part of what we need to make sure we're doing here is what I call vibe checks, right? NC State, and we were at the ACC tournament, they have a certain vibe to them. It's not, a lot of teams that go on these Cinderella runs are angry. Nobody believed in us. Us against the world, right? All the haters are gonna blah, blah, blah. State very much hasn't been that. And what I mean by that is they're like, they don't hold grudges, right? There's kind of two ways to go about it, right? One is you close the door to your bandwagon and say, if you weren't with us back in January, if you didn't believe in us at the beginning of the ACC tournament, we don't want you. The other is to open up all the doors and windows on the bandwagon and say whoever wants to come on the bandwagon is welcome. Squeeze, make room. We'll hook up a trailer if we have to. We'll get a bigger bus if we have to. We'll do whatever we have to do to fit everybody on there, and that's been NC State. So, now you're going to the Final Four. It's just the same question of can they be the same? We talked with Gary Hahn, the voice of NC State, on the Pack Therapy podcast, which that episode, by the way, out everywhere now, wherever you find your podcasts. Both Graham and I spoke to him. And one of the things he brought up about Kevin Keats, the head coach of NC State, is he is the same person whether you're America's darling or whether you're on a 4-game losing streak. He is the exact same guy. He doesn't change. Well, the one thing you don't know, because he's never been in this situation and very few ever are, is does he change at the Final Four? Does he get uptight? Is it, well, the Elite Eight is fun, but the Final Four is business? That's the question, right? So one of the things I'm going to ask Dennis when we get him on the phone here, and we're working to get him on the phone from Phoenix, is what's the vibe? Right? Do they feel the same way they felt in D.C. out there in Phoenix? And then, of course, we'll have to get into what we talked about earlier, which is you're going to have to guard Zach Edey. You're going to have to guard DJ Burns, right? Both sides of that coin are going to have to be, a plan devised by the coaching staff and then executed by the players. And neither of those are easy riddles to solve, right? It's a riddle wrapped in an enigma. We getting close, Graham?
Almost there.
All right, almost there. Sometimes those guys behind the glass producing the show, they're in deeper than I am. Phone call, we're almost there. The other thing we're going to talk about with Dennis, and this is just kind of a preview of the conversation we're going to have with Dennis Cox out there in Phoenix, is maybe the hoopla. Hoopla, it might not be the right word, but I think you get what I'm saying. DJ Burns and DJ HORNE have become celebrities in the last week. There's murals on campus of DJ Burns. They had a meet and greet at an Applebee's, and thousands of people showed up. Right? So many people showed up that they couldn't get them all into the Applebee's to participate in the event. So instead, they had DJ Burns and DJ HORNE drive by the line as they were leaving, so everybody could at least say they got to see them. That's some like NSYNC, Backstreet Boys, late 90s type stuff where people just want to get a glimpse of them in the car driving by. So the question is, how does that affect those two, right? You start to have some real, oh my gosh, moments. And how does that affect everybody else on the team? Right? They're watching their two teammates get all of the attention. Meanwhile, everybody else is hanging off to the side saying, we put in a lot of work too. And this plays into one of the things that I think the Final Four tests, right? NC State is a wildly experienced team. I mean, we can use DJ HORNE for an example. He's played 5 years of college basketball, 2 at Illinois State, 2 at Arizona State, and now a year at NC State. That is a full life. That is more than a full life of college basketball. To me, a college career is 4 years. He's played 5. So he has, 120%, 125% of a college career worth of experience. I'm not sure how much that helps you in a Final Four if you haven't been there. You are either someone that thrives when the biggest pressure of your career is on your shoulders, or you aren't. And I don't think you can simulate it. UConn does have some, right? They've got Newton, they've got Klingon, they've got Caravan. They have some Final Four experience. But you look at NC State, I think it's a you got it or you don't style thing. Now joining us on the Heaster Automotive Group hotline, good work by Graham getting him hooked up, our very own Dennis Cox, who is out in Phoenix taking in the action of the Final Four and the preparation going into it. Dennis, I just explained all the reasons why we need to ask you this question. What's the vibe check on NC State? How are they feeling? How are they moving?
They were themselves. They're typical upbeat, like the individual guys that you think of. Casey Morcell, when I talked to him, is very much stoic, type demeanor. The energy from guys like Jaden Taylor were all what you expect to see. Even the guys in the locker room, like Ernest Ross and Snell and Breon Pass and a few other guys towards the tail end of the media availability in the locker room were like doing a TikTok dance that they were looking to post online. So like they were themselves. That was actually the thing. It's like, oh, okay, like this is the vibe that we saw in Washington, D.C. This is what people saw in Pittsburgh and in Brooklyn, or not Brooklyn, but in Pittsburgh and then in Dallas. So they're just being themselves, really.
I did see the TikTok dance on social media. This is a good time to plug it for everybody. Follow 99.9 The Fan on all your socials. Dennis is posting all the behind the scenes and insight that he's taking in Phoenix. Another thing I saw, Dennis, in the social media posting is the media swarming DJ Burns and DJ HORNE pretty good, both from your social media posts and the teams. How is kind of everyone taking that? Do Burns and HORNE look comfortable being celebrities? And is the rest of the crew kind of eyeing it up? What's that looking like?
It's interesting because there's a lot of for DJ HORNE. This is like a second homecoming when you think about it for DJ HORNE because he played a couple years here at Arizona State. Yep. So there's a lot of local media that were actually here talking to him for the first time this season after having covered him for a couple of years. Obviously, we know he's from the Raleigh area, so that's like a homecoming back at NC State. But the fact that he's actually back here in Arizona, just down the road from where he went to school for a couple of years, again, it's like a second homecoming for him. So there was a lot of local media down here talking to DJ HORNE after obviously his success that he had here. But I think these guys are just they've embraced it because they've come to expect it because it's been happening for a while. Like anytime you go into the locker room post game, people are talking to DJ Horne, people are talking to DJ Burns. Obviously, they got all these massive NIL deals and stuff that they're doing. So I think it's become something that they're used to. And even with DJ Burns, like he was just like, yeah, camera's on me. I get it. Like he just gets it. He's like, people want to talk to me. He understands it. It's not like a showboat or anything along those lines. It's like nothing close to that. It's just he understands what it is. And then, of course, there are a lot of people asking him about, hey, like NFL, football, and he shot that down. He's like, no chance. No chance at all am I playing football. Completely shot that all down.
Darn it. I want to see him in a three-point stance. Dennis Cox.
Yeah, you're not going to see it. Sorry.
Well, him and Zach Edey would be just supersized football. Our very own Dennis Cox out there in Phoenix covering the Final Four. The road to Phoenix on 99.9 The Fan is built by Mungo Homes, ranked number 5 top workplace in the country, building homes and dream teams for 70 years. I'm not sure if they're tipping their hand or if they want to keep everything kind of state secrets. Have you heard anything from NC State about how they plan to guard Zach Edey, the big guy for Purdue?
I remember Ben Middlebrooks talking about saying, we just got to go out there and just be ourselves, just be physical, not back down from the challenge. That's really it, because there's nothing you could do to like compensate for height. Zach Edey is, having stood next to him, is all of like the 7'3", 7'4" that he's billed to be. He is a very large individual. But from hearing those guys, we have a strong front court too. They also have to deal with us. Which I thought was a pretty interesting mentality, especially hearing from Ben Middlebrooks. Like, hey, they have to deal with us too. It's not just us dealing with them. Like, they have to deal with us too, and they feel like they have a really strong front court. Does NC State? So it was interesting to hear have that mentality. It's like, yeah, okay, we had to face you, but you got to face us.
Well, okay, let's flip the question then. I know you were this afternoon in Purdue's media availability. What is Purdue saying about DJ Burns in that front court?
It's interesting. Zach Edey was asked about it, especially because there's Klingman, there's Edey, there's obviously DJ Burns, and he was asked about the big men as a whole, and he's like, yeah, it's kind of like a revival of the big man, at least when it comes to college basketball. And he was asked specifically about Burns, and he said he spoke pretty glowingly of him. He's like, I feel like some people might be treating it as like a sideshow, like, oh, here's this big guy, doing these things, and it's like, you got to look at him. He's like, this dude's a legit great basketball player. Like, he's a great passer. He has great touch around the rim. So he spoke very glowingly of him. And it's like, oh, okay. Like, he understands that there's a challenge on guarding DJ Burns with his ability to finish around the rim, his passing ability. Like, they're respecting him as a basketball player, not just the cool, fun story that a lot of national media is making out to be. He's like, no, you got to deal with him as a basketball player, and he's a legit threat.
Dennis Cox, our very own, following the Final Four in Phoenix, joining us on the Heister Automotive Group hotline. The Purdue story, like, I don't want to just say vibe check again, but as somebody that covered UVA the following year after they lost to a 16 seed, then they won the national championship the following year, at every step along the way the following year, it was the most talked about thing. It was the hanging over their heads. It was, you lost to a you lost to a 16 seed last year. You lost to a 16 seed last year. Has Purdue somehow outrun that narrative after losing last year in such a dramatic way?
I'd say so. I mean, you got to a Final Four, so you kind of can say, all right, well, last year was different. It's kind of like it's a fluke thing that happened. It happened, obviously, because it's happened a few times now. But I think for them, it was like, we have something to prove, but they want to prove that last year was the fluke. And I think you're kind of getting that mentality, or at least getting that vibe in their locker room, or you're looking for that vibe check in their locker room. It's like, yeah, we're supposed to be here, and we should have been here last year, but we let it slip in the opening round. This is exactly where we're supposed to be. A very, very business-like attitude, it felt like, from Purdue going into their locker room. There's like, yeah, we have something to prove, not only to ourselves, but to everyone out there, that this is where we're supposed to be.
All right, I'm going to hit you with my safety net question. What are we missing? What was said that surprised you, or said that you really think someone who isn't in Phoenix wouldn't pick up on when we're consuming everything going on there at the Final Four. And I will add the caveat, aside from the hotel waffles that you taunt us with on social media every day.
The hotel waffles were on point. But I went around and asked a lot of the guards. I get 2 nuggets for you. I went around and asked a lot of the perimeter guys, hey, what was it like shooting in the stadium? Because it's a football stadium. Because sight lines and stuff were different. And a lot of people, several of them said, like, it took a few shots to adjust, because especially from the top of the key, because that dead-on shot, because there's so much space behind the basket, you feel like you're actually further away than what you really are. So you might, clank one off the back of the rim or off the backboard or something like that. So it just took a few shots to kind of get adjusted to it. But I remember Jaden Taylor telling me that, Syracuse sometimes has a little bit of that, because obviously you're playing in the dome, but they move the seats and adjust the benches or adjust the bleachers and all that stuff, so it doesn't feel like you're playing in a football stadium, even though you are. So like there's a little bit of, I guess, lack of a better term, familiarity when it comes to that. But I talked to Dennis Parker Jr. He was actually cleared to return actually just this past Sunday, so he's actually cleared and ready to go.
Wow.
So if Kevin Keats and the NC State runs into foul trouble or, whatever it might be during the course of the game, Dennis Parker Jr. is available. So we know that he played a ton of minutes earlier on this season, started a whole lot of games. So Dennis Parker Jr. is available, something that we haven't seen in several weeks, but he's available, and he's going to dress and be ready to go this coming Saturday.
You talk about getting used to the arena. Did anybody think to measure the 3-point line? I know Westmore and the Wolfpack women's team may recommend doing that.
There were a lot of jokes about that, like making sure everything was right where it's supposed to be. Like, are these rims 10 feet tall? Is the free throw line where it's supposed to be? Yeah, there's definitely some jokes about that for sure.
Dennis, we appreciate you as always. We'll check back in with you as we lead up to the Final Four, and enjoy Phoenix.
Awesome, thanks, guys.
Once again, that is our very own Dennis Cox out there covering the Final Four, the men's Final Four, as NC State prepares to play Purdue. We'll have sound that he's gathered from those events throughout the rest of the week. Also, right now, it is March, and the weather is changing. A couple days ago, I was outside. I was sweating. Now I'm outside. I'm chilly. And guess what? That can wreak havoc on your energy bills. You want to cool the house down. You want to heat the house up. You want to cool the house down. Don't let all of that money, all of that energy bill cash go right through your windows. Instead, call Window Nation. Are your windows cracked? Are they leaking? Will they not open if you want them to get some fresh air? Will they not close, or will they not stay open? There's so many questions to ask. Finally, right? You can call Window Nation, and they can take care of everything. Buy 2 windows, get 2 free, plus 0 down, 0 interest, and no payments for 24 months. They can install your new windows in 1 day or less. Window Nation's windows also come with a lifetime warranty. It's easy. Get a free, no-obligation quote now. All you have to do is call 866-90-NATION. That's 866-90-NATION, or visit windownation.com to schedule. They have over 20,000 positive online reviews. Again, check them out, windownation.com to schedule now. We're going to take a break. When we come back, sports are learning something that we've known forever. That's right. That felt like a fortune cookie wisdom. I'll explain everything coming up next.
Hey, what do you say? John Forsland here for my friends at Buffalo Brothers. What a great time for sports. The College Hoops Tournament in hockey is in the home stretch. I call games in Seattle and around the country, but when I'm back in the Triangle, I head right to Buffalo Brothers. Make sure you visit Buffalo Brothers for all the big games. Always great specials, like half-price appetizers Monday through Friday, 4:30 to 6. Dine in, carry out at all 5 Triangle locations and online at buffbrothers.com. Aw, man, now I want wings.
He's one of those kids that only laughs at real anger. I don't know if you've ever met one of those peaches, but see, most 2 and 3-year-olds, they laugh at manufactured anger. You can go up to a kid that age and just go, rawr, and they're like, and this kid's like, I want to see your blood pressure spike, man.
From his multiple Netflix specials, comedian Tom Segura brings his new tour, Come Together, to PNC Arena Raleigh, April 14th. Tickets on sale now at Ticketmaster.com.
What are you doing?
I'm training for the new Ultimate Dash Scratch-Offs. I could get a chance to dash through a warehouse full of prizes.
That explains the shopping cart.
Plus, I could win up to $2 million in cash.
And that explains the tuxedo.
I'm chafing.
Feel the rush with new Ultimate Dash scratch-offs from the North Carolina Education Lottery. Must be 18 to play. Approximate overall odds of winning are 1 in 3.78. Problem gambling helpline 877-718-5543.
There are any number of reasons you might consider selling your home. To move closer to family, live within a smaller budget, or just wanting a change of scenery. Whatever your reasons, having to figure out all the various housing market trends in your area may not be what you signed up for. That's where an agent who is a realtor comes in. Realtors have the expertise to help you find the right price and navigate the process to sell your home in a way that's right for you. That's who we are. Realtors are members of the National Association of Realtors.
The moment we've been waiting for has arrived. Download the Caesars Sportsbook app today using code NEWNCBG. Then place your first bet of $5 or more. Win or lose, you'll receive $150 in bonus bets. Open to new users in North Carolina who are 21 or older. Terms and conditions apply. See Caesars.com/promos or the promos tab in the app for full terms. Gambling problem? Call 1-877-718-5543 or visit morethanagamenc.gov. Tribal Casino Gaming Enterprise is a licensed operator by the North Carolina State Lottery Commission.
Hey, Dennis Cox here for my good friends over at the Law Tigers. Tomorrow's the day. I've been looking forward to it for a long time because tomorrow is when the HURRI-CONs 2023 Harley-Davidson Softail motorcycles are going to be given away. That's right, the motorcycle that the Law Tigers, Tobacco Road Harley-Davidson, Shiny Side Paint, and your Carolina HURRI-CONs all teamed up together to give the ultimate Canes fan. It's going to be given away tomorrow on the ice. There's 3 contestants, 3 finalists. One's going to get a new bike. Law Tigers, North Carolina's motorcycle lawyers. Law Tigers is a network of independent law firms who are members of the American Association of Motorcycle Injury Lawyers. Law Tigers is not a law firm.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Every once in a while, there's these moments where I look at my notes for the week and there's a running theme. That happened. You know what the running theme is?
What's that?
It's such common sense that some of you are going to be like, how? The running theme is the people, the personalities on your team in team sports matter. And it does feel like everybody's relearning this, and it's, I think, a fight back against analytics. It's funny because we were at the Durham Bulls Athletic Park for opening day earlier this week. I was talking with Mike Burling, the one of their vice presidents for the Bulls, vice president of baseball operations, and we were talking about the way the Rays do things, and he was saying all of the cameras and the analytics and the spin rates and the exit velocities, and they track everything. And what I said was, I get it, but I kind of also long for the days of I just heard the crack of the bat and I knew that swing was different. Or I talked to a guy and I knew there was no way with his personality, with the look in his eye, that he wasn't going to be successful. Or I talked to his teammates and they told me he's got something different. And I was like, okay, file that away. And by the way, Mike Burling agreed with me. He said, I do think there is a lot of that. He does think scouts still do that. He does think that's still in the game. And then we were talking with Gary Hahn, right? We were talking with the voice of the NC State Wolfpack, who is kind of in his retirement tour, even if it wasn't planned to be this elaborate, it is. He announced he was retiring months ago, so he was prepared to have his last game be the first game of the ACC tournament against Louisville 9 games ago, and the team keeps winning, so he keeps getting one more. And we talked to him about what this NC State team does, what they're special at, and this is part of what he gave us.
Now, this NC State team doesn't have a mega leader, but it's got a whole bunch of veterans, and these guys have played basketball for a long time. They're hungry, and all of a sudden at the end of the year, things weren't going very good, but they weren't that bad. I mean, they lost 4 straight games going into the ACC tournament, but they were competitive in all of them. And what you'd find was that there was a stretch of about 5 minutes or 7 minutes in the game. It either came in the first half. Most of the time it came in the second half, in the last 10 minutes, where a couple of things would happen. There'd either be a bunch of breakdowns defensively, or there'd be a period where NC State just couldn't put the ball in the basket. And that's all it takes when you're playing. I'll tell you, when you're playing ACC games, there's a fine line between winning and losing, and that's all it takes.
There is a healthy amount in that conversation. You can go find it, the full conversation between Graham, I, and Gary on our everywhere podcast can be found on the Pack Therapy podcast. There is a healthy amount of talking about how much that team is close, how much that team likes each other, how much they get along. So then, all right, I'm starting to connect dots, right? We have this conversation with the Durham Bulls. We have this conversation with Gary Hahn. Then the Bills trade Stephon Diggs. Stephon Diggs is their best wide receiver. They don't have another stud wide receiver.
Yeah.
He is their best wide receiver, and they cut him, or didn't cut him. They trade him. But guess what? When they traded him, Stephon Diggs' cap hit for this year went from $28 million to $31 million for the Bills. So they paid $3 million more for him not to play for them than they would have had to pay against the cap for him to play for them, and he's their best wide receiver, and they got him the heck out of there. You know what that tells me? They didn't want Stephon Diggs, the person, on their team, because Stephon Diggs, the player, is really gosh darn good. And then it went back to a conversation I had about John Shire earlier this year about how if you go back and watch Duke's loss to Tennessee out of the NCAA tournament last year, they didn't have the edge, right? They got bullied. They didn't have the, for lack of a better term, and I don't mean this like a hockey guy that's going to go fight, they don't have the enforcer.
Yeah.
Then this year, the game where they got knocked out by NC State, they didn't have edge. They didn't have, for lack of a better term, and I'm not talking about a hockey guy that's going to fight, they didn't have the enforcer. And I'm going, Shire, I believe the next step for him, and he's a very good coach, and he's won a bunch, and he's made an Elite Eight, and he's won an ACC championship, is recruiting all of the personalities you need in addition to a ball handler, a shooter, a 7-footer. You also need the again, for lack of better terms, alpha, the quiet guy, the funny one to bring levity. Like, you also need to bring all of that in and mix it into the pot stew, the cauldron of a winning team.
Someone that when the other team is playing bully ball, and I don't mean bully ball like playing dirty, I mean bully ball in the sense of when they're, just being more aggressive than you are down low, you got to have somebody that can kind of push back, match that energy.
Or who's just going to tell coach during a timeout, don't come in the huddle, I got this.
Yeah.
Right? Like it's the point is obvious, and it's been talked about for years, centuries even, right? The point is obvious. The people matter. The personalities matter. But in 2024, a lot of people have gone past it. Fantasy sports, right? Video game sports. In my video games, I don't have to worry about if my Madden guys get along with each other, right? I don't have to worry about that because I'm the one controlling them. In my fantasy sports, right, there's a viral tweet that goes viral every couple years where like Tim Tebow is out of the league and somebody picks him up and puts him on his fantasy roster, and the conversation that's in the meme or the viral post is, why'd you pick up Tebow? And he goes, locker room wasn't a good place. I need somebody that's a bit more aggressive. I need somebody that's going to turn it around.
This is a little freaky since you were talking about Stephon Diggs, but some breaking news from Adam Schefter. The Houston Texans. Do I need to hit the sounder?
I mean, I don't know. I don't know the news. You're deciding that.
I guess that'd be my role as the producer of the program. The Houston Texans made a significant change to Stephon Diggs' contract as part of the recent trade for the star wide receiver from the Buffalo Bills. Houston wiped out the final 3 years on Diggs' contract, which gives him the ability to hit free agency in 2024, sources told ESPN's Adam Schefter.
So even they don't want to commit to the guy they just traded for. I don't know, maybe it's a little like prove yourself deal, but it plays all into it, right? They can't just bring him in and say we needed a wide receiver who's fast and can catch, because you also have to think about how he's going to affect as a person Tank Dell, CJ Stroud, whoever else is in that locker room.
The locker room guy.
Numbers are taking away that understanding and making us relearn it. Kentucky, what did Kentucky have? Kentucky basketball has maybe 2 of the top 10 picks in the draft, right? Dillingham and Reed Shepard.
Yeah.
Guess what else happened? They lost in the first round of the NCAA tournament, and those two guys didn't play great. You need the people. NC State appears to, like we just talked with Dennis Cox out there in Phoenix. NC State, they're vibing. I said, what's the vibe check? He said they're the exact same way. They're TikTok dancing. DJ Burns gets it. DJ HORNE gets it. Ben Middlebrooks gets it. They're vibing.
Playing music on the boombox.
They like each other. Now, it's, certain sports you can't like everybody. I played football. There are 110 people in our locker room. There's no subsection of anyone in America where you're going to be best friends with 109 other people. But you can have your 15 that you're really good friends with, right? One of the very first things I learned in college, and it came from one of our veterans, an All-American by the name of Charles Graves. He said, this is the way he described it, find a clique you can bang with. He was like, find your 15, find your 20 who do things the way you want them done, right? Hang out in a way that you have fun and get the work done. The people in your locker room matter. And it does feel like sports are relearning that after that's all we knew for like a century. Then analytics came in and said, no, actually what matters is on-base percentage. And it's like, yeah, kind of. Both. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Darn Moneyball. The wait is over, everybody, and that's the wait for my friends over at DraftKings Sportsbook. My partners at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of NASCAR. They are now live in North Carolina. Now you can legally bet on all your favorite sports anytime, anywhere, right here in North Carolina with DraftKings. For a limited time, new customers who sign up with promo code TIMD, that's TIMD, no spaces, and bet $5 will receive $250 instantly in bonus bets. DraftKings has the best features, including same-game parlays, player props, and more with fast and easy payouts right at your fingertips. You know what I might do for a same-game parlay?
What's that?
That first line for the Canes, Aho, Gensel, Jarvis. I love the way they're playing. They're playing tonight against Boston. I might throw a same-game parlay on all of them to have at least 1 point, right? Because then if that could be one goal, right? 2 assists from each of them, 2 assists from 2 of them. The other guy scores a goal, bada boom, bada bang. It's a hit. Look into it. Check out the numbers. Check out the odds. They do all the math for you. Find out if it's something you might be interested in. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now using code TIMD, T-I-M-D, with no spaces, and bet $5 to get $250 instantly in bonus bets only on DraftKings Sportsbook with code TIMD. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 877-185-543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov. 21 plus, North Carolina only. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. Deposit and eligibility restrictions apply. Terms at DraftKings.com/sportsbook/NC. NASCAR is not a sponsor of this promotion and used under license. Coming up next, we have the starting 5, including we're going to hear from, on the Heastar Automotive Group hotline, Andy Enfield, the new ACC head basketball coach of SMU. He was also the coach of USC most recently, Florida Gulf Coast before that. Andy Enfield joins the show in the next segment. Stick around.
Get a great deal this spring on a new Trane heat and cooling system. Trane systems are engineered to keep up with you. Visit TraneInfo.com to find your local independent Trane dealer and learn more. It's hard to stop a Trane.
Evan, Canty, and Michelle are unsportsmanlike.
9 straight elimination games that they've won. And yet they keep going about their business very workmanlike, and they have this childlike enthusiasm when they're doing it. Like, this is a fun basketball team to watch. They're the most fun team to watch in the men's tournament. The way that they play basketball, especially their intensity on the defensive end, I mean, how could you not root for NC State at this point?
Mornings from 6 to 9 on 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
Your new Academy Sports and Outdoors store is now open in Knightdale with great brands at the best prices. In here, you'll always find the gear you need to do what you love out there. Get it all at your new Academy Sports and Outdoors store in Knightdale.
Your favorite resale shop is also in the custom cabinet business. Habitat for Humanity Restores offers brand new cabinets and in-home measurement service, and sales benefit Habitat for Humanity home projects. Habitat's partnering with manufacturers to offer you brand new, high-quality, solid wood custom cabinets in multiple style and color options, and we offer competitive pricing. Learn more about custom cabinets from Triangle Restores and how your dream project could make someone's dream of home ownership come true at trianglerestores.org.
New to the area? Let me be the first to welcome you. I'm Marcy Bailey of Bailey's Fine Jewelry. We've been family-owned and part of North Carolina since 1948. We have a tradition of being voted the best jewelry store with an unparalleled selection of designer jewelry, fine diamonds, engagement rings, watches, and gifts to commemorate all your special occasions. We look forward to sharing our award-winning service and stunning jewels with you. Visit us today in-store or at baileybox.com to see why every woman wants a Bailey box.
We want to invite you to Atlantic Spas and Billiards to bring more relaxation, wellness, and fun to your home. Sit in a hot tub from Hot Spring or Caldera, relax in a hot sauna from Finleo, or swim in our showroom in our endless pool. We have a fully stocked game room showroom with darts, ping pong, foosball, air hockey, pool tables, and more. Everything we sell for your home, from hot tubs to grills, from saunas to pool tables, promotes relaxation, wellness, and fun. Atlantic Spas and Billiards on Glenwood Avenue in Raleigh and Market Street in Wilmington, AtlanticSBNC.com.
Our state's future begins with our students. That's why the North Carolina Education Lottery has contributed over $10 billion to education. Through scholarships, school construction, support staff, and pre-K programs, lottery dollars move our state forward, helping students become the best versions of themselves. Visit MovingNCStudentsForward.com and share how your student or school community has benefited for a chance to earn $2,000 for your story. Must be 18 to play. Problem gambling helpline 877-718-5543.
Bobby Joe absolutely hated her job.
Can't hate that job any more than I do.
So, time for one of those fancy tech schools?
No, I could never afford that. I'm going to Sharky's.
Sharky's?
Yeah, no better place to relax. Great food, cold beer, good whiskey, darts, billiards.
So now you love your job?
No, I still hate my job, but I loves me some Sharky's. I highly recommend it.
Yeah, everybody loves Sharky's. Sharky's Place, one of the best neighborhood bars in the world. 5800 Durley Road by the Shell Station.
Direct auto insurance is for uncompromisers. Like Matt. When his old car insurance got so expensive, do you think he walked until his sneakers wore out? No, because he found savings with Direct Auto so he could drive instead of compromise. With savings of up to 25% on state minimum coverage, you too can stop compromising and keep driving. Get a free quote at directauto.com or a store near you. Savings vary, terms apply. National General Group, Winston-Salem.
Soundstation and Security, your automotive and audio experts. Car audio, car video, home theater, wheels and tires, and so much more. Plus, did you know Soundstation and Security offers full service for your vehicle? Alignments, inspection, oil changes, window tinting, and custom exhaust. And with a variety of financing options, Soundstation and Security can help you get what you need today. 2 locations, downtown Smithfield and on Glenwood Avenue in Raleigh. Soundstation and Security. Visit myhotsound.com.
This hour on the Triangle Sports Leader is brought to you by the Ritchie Law Firm Injury Lawyers.
You can feel the madness!
Go to GotBryan.com. That's GotBryan.com.
WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. Take us with you on radio, web, app, Alexa, and YouTube. 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm WRAL meteorologist Mike Mays. We've seen clouds, a little bit of light rain in our northern counties this afternoon. Tonight is colder, 38 the low. Morning sunshine for your Friday, mostly cloudy and breezy in the afternoon. The high around 61.
Weather update brought to you by Newcomb & Company, where your comfort is their business. Visit newcombandcompany.com. 5 o'clock check of your money. The Dow Jones closes the day down 530 points at 38,596. Market update brought to you by Sanford's 150th birthday bash, Saturday, April 6, 10:30 a.m. to 4. This is a free event happening at Sanford Fairgrounds. Get all the details at sanford150.com.
It's 5 o'clock. Time to serve up the biggest sports stories of the day. Here comes your starting 5.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. It is time for the starting 5, and as always, we start with number 5. The NC State women also in the Final Four. They are getting ready for South Carolina, and All right. They're getting ready for South Carolina, and you know, it's actually funny, right? We talked with Dennis Cox not long ago while he was in sorry, I just got a text there. I had to read it real quick.
It happens.
It does.
I got the same text.
Andy Enfield, new SMU head basketball coach, not going to be joining us. That's the text that you read?
Yep.
All right, cool. So we will we'll have a new
we'll call an audible.
We'll have a new starting five coming up in a second. In the meantime, NC State women, that just gives us more time to talk about the women's basketball team for NC State getting ready to face South Carolina.
Exactly.
You know what I'm like a little tired of? And you know, actually, this is a great thing for women's basketball. Okay, I'm going to say it like that. I'm a little tired of hearing of South Carolina as a team and Caitlin Clark.
Okay.
I'm a little tired of it because there are 4 teams playing in the Final Four.
Right.
One of them is NC State. Even Paige Beckers is getting a lot of talk from UConn. And you look at the men's tournament, and one thing the men's tournament is able to do is divide up the spotlight pretty darn well. Right? There's the great story of NC State. There's Zach Edey and everything that comes with him from Purdue. There's Alabama and the up-tempo everybody wants because they're more entertaining style of basketball. There's UConn and Dan Hurley. I can't turn anything sports media on without seeing Dan Hurley telling me some story or talking about his lucky underwear or talking about his you know, legit center clinging and all these things. Meanwhile, the women's game, it's very much South Carolina's the juggernaut team. Everyone wants to talk about Dawn Staley, the coach, and how good South Carolina is. Everybody wants to talk about Caitlin Clark. If I'm NC State, I'm wearing that, right?
Yeah.
I'm getting shirts that say "Remember me?" ? I'm letting everybody know that
we're here too.
We've earned our way into this part of the tournament the same way that they earned their way into this part of the tournament. Were we the highest seed? Fine, whatever. You can make whatever argument you want. We're here, and we have a chance to play. And Westmore should lean into that, right? Again, we just talked to Dennis Cox. This is where I was going with that. He's out at the men's Final Four in Phoenix, and he's saying there's jokes all over the place about, hey, we should measure to make sure the rims are 10 feet. We should measure to make sure the three-point lines are right. Do you know why that's a joke? Because the NC State women played an Elite 8 game with 2 different three-point lines.
Yep.
At one end, it was the correct three-point line. At the other, it was 9 inches short. It was 9 inches closer to the bucket. That's a joke. That's become a bit. It's become a meme. How do you not take that as some kind of disrespect? I talked earlier about UConn, the men's UConn team, having kind of this fake chip on their shoulder, right? Oh, we had to play the early game in the Elite 8 or in the Sweet 16. Another way everybody's out to get us. Oh, we had airplane troubles, as if somebody planned that. Oh, everyone's out to get us.
They don't try to fit your cheerleading squad, your band.
We need the jumbo jet, cargo, super duper giant jet for everybody. NC State women is not a fake chip on your shoulder. That's a real chip on your shoulder, and a chip on your shoulder is an advantage, right? It is something that the other teams don't have. It truly is you against the world going up against South Carolina, and I think that's something they can use to their advantage. That's number 5. Let's get to number 4.
We are the 4 horsemen. Woo!
Alabama versus UConn. There is, and I said this earlier, there is another Final Four game going on that doesn't include NC State in the men's bracket, even though here in the Triangle you might not know it. Alabama versus UConn. And if you look at this game, I think it's a super, super interesting matchup. UConn, despite the fact that they think they're being slighted, as I just said, they have so many things tilted in their advantage. And by the way, good on them, right? You start a tournament, you start a season hoping to have all the advantages at this point of the year. It's like I'm not blaming them for having the better center. I'm not blaming them for having the better defense. I'm not blaming them for having more NBA players. I'm not blaming them for having the experience of winning the championship last year and having a handful of contributors that returned to the team to do it again. I'm not blaming them, but what I'm saying is if we had a couple of hours, I could list all the things that UConn would be better than Alabama in, right? They're better at this. They're better at that. They have this player. They have that player. They have this coach. UConn has 5 national championships in the last 25 years.
Yep.
In a lot of ways, UConn, when you combine the women's game, obviously they and NC State this year are kind of the center of the basketball world. Over the last 20 years, I think it's pretty easy to say UConn, men's and women's, is the center of the basketball world. They got a lot of advantages. You may be saying, wait a second, you said this was about Alabama versus UConn, not just UConn. Okay, well, let me give you Alabama's advantage. The 3-ball. And sometimes that's all it takes. A 3-ball is like a goalie, right? 3-ball is like one power hitter. You still might not be the favorite, but there's a path, right? If you need your goalie to block 45 shots to win a game,
it keeps you in the game.
You may not be favored, but if you've got one of those goalies, there's always a chance, right? There's always like hey, you know what? Maybe he's going to post a 45-save shutout. The 3-ball for Alabama is that. They might get out-rebounded. They might get out-defended. They might get out-dribbled. They might get out-passed. They might get out-defensive communicationed. They might get out-schemed. They could get out everything, but if they hit their threes, they could still win the game, right? It is not. There are certain. Ready for this? I haven't played fantasy basketball in years, but the league I used to play in was categories. There were 9 categories, so like you could win in points, you could win in assists, you could win in blocks, you could win in free throws, or 3-point percentage. I forget what they all were, but there were 9 categories. And your team would total up all your stats for the week, and the team you were playing against would total up all their stats for the week. And if you won 5 categories, you won the week, right? It was a majority rules thing. That's not how real basketball is played. You could outplay the opposing team in 8 of 9 categories. If they win that 9th category by enough, as long as that 9th category is one of the valuable scoring ones, you could lose the game. That's Alabama's path, and they know it. Guess what they're going to do if the game starts low scoring? They're going to shoot a bunch of threes. Guess what they're going to do if they find themselves up 12? Keep shooting a bunch of threes.
They're going to live by the 3, die by the 3.
Guess what they're going to do if they're down 12? Shoot a bunch of threes. UConn went on a 30-0 run over Illinois,
which was crazy.
Which is bananas. Guess what Alabama's going to try to do if they find themselves on a 20-0 wrong side of that run?
Try to go on a 20-9 run.
Shoot a bunch of threes. Like that's
by shooting 3 3-pointers.
They have, you know, it's a football team from 1913. They're like, we're going to run student body right.
Yeah.
What are we going to run on the next play? Student body right.
T-bend formation.
Yeah, what? Student body left. It's a pitch. Everybody gets in front. We try to win. The only difference is it's a 3-point shot. And I'll be watching. Because the other thing is it does make it so they can, like, even if they are down 15, it's not that many shots, right? Like they're always kind of knocking on the door.
You'll be watching to see where NC State's going to play on Monday night, right? Right?
There you go. If I'm State, I've already watched the film. I'm getting ahead of it. I'm trying to be confident in that way. Right? I told my players to pack enough clothes for the entire weekend into next week. Right? That's like NBA teams used to do it. I think it was Jordan maybe against Phoenix. They had an opportunity to close out the finals on the road in Phoenix, and he got on the plane and said anybody that's brought more than one suit, because it was game 6 and 7 or 5 and 6 were both going to be on in Phoenix. He said anybody that's brought more than one suit, get off the bus, get off the plane. Like, you bring one pair of clothes because we're only going to be here for one night, because we're going to go there, sleep, wake up, end the series, come home. So the opposite has to be true for NC State, right? Anybody here that hasn't packed to stay till Tuesday, get off the bus, right? We're planning on staying the whole time. and then they go play Alabama or UConn, which is what number 4 was. Now number 3.
1, 2, 3.
This is where, again, we promised you Andy Enfield, new SMU head basketball coach.
Let me get a 30.
Yeah, there we go. We're going to check and throw it into the post. Andy got a little busy. Something popped up, so he will not be joining us. But there is one thing that I was going to ask him that I think is worth talking about for NC State. Andy Enfield is coming to the ACC, SMU, from Hollywood. He was the head coach of USC. There he coached Isaiah Collier, who's a very high profile. He's going to be a first-round pick this year. He also coached LeBron James Jr., who, while he averaged 5 points per game this year, brought millions and millions of eyeballs. He was a celebrity. Going back to Florida Gulf Coast, Andy Enfield was the coach of Dunk City. Remember Dunk City?
Yep.
They were a 15 seed that made a run all the way to the Sweet 16, captivated America. One of the questions I was going to ask him, because I think it directly impacts NC State, is how does your program turn buzz, celebrity, fame by your players and your team on a run like this into longer success, right? Because the NCAA tournament is awesome.
No doubt.
And it can turn people into legitimate celebrities, right? There's, who was it? Drew from Valpo hitting the shot. There was Ali, and I forget his last name, from Northern Iowa, or I think it was Northern Iowa, hitting the shots. There's so many. Steph Curry was kind of turned into a celebrity during March Madness.
John Morant most recently.
John Morant. There's always a couple. How does a program not let that be? Remember that one awesome March where we became celebrities?
Yeah.
And turn it into that awesome March where we became celebrities and it vaulted our program to the next level, so we were more likely to do it the next year.
Like Kemba Walker and UConn's NCAA tournament run.
And then it becomes something more. Is it, in modern-day basketball, spending all your downtime calling boosters and asking for NIL support? Because how fun is this, and wouldn't you want to do it again next year? Is it hitting up every transfer in the portal? We talked with Brad Underwood earlier today, Illinois head basketball coach, and he said between the between the Sweet 16 and the Elite 8, he was calling transfers out of the portal. There's not a lot of time between the Sweet 16 and the Elite 8.
Yeah.
There's one day.
Once your season ends, a new season begins.
This was before the Elite 8, so it was before his season ended. He was already talking to players in the portal. Is there that going on? Is that the best way to spend your time if you're NC State? Or is it simply making sure everyone is available, right? Because the other thing Brad Underwood did is after a win, he took his shirt off, he grabbed a super soaker, and he sprayed his teammates or his team in the locker room, which became a viral moment. DJ Burns creates viral moments. The Boombox creates viral moments. Those things, brand awareness.
You want to be a boss? You got to pay the price.
There you go. I look at it like this. Part of the art of recruiting is getting, and this goes for transfer portal recruits also, is how many times can you get them thinking about you when you're not interacting with them? Right? Like, I can make anyone...
It's like dating someone.
Yeah, I can make anyone think of me if I call them. Right? They're going to see my phone, my number pop up on their cell phone when we're talking. They're going to be talking to me. I can make them think of my program when I text them or when I send them something or when I get them to my campus for an official visit. But guess who else can do that? Every other team that's recruiting them. So how can you get them, their friend, to hit them up and say, you see what NC State did? How can you get them at the grocery store, they're waiting in line because some lady has 2 full shopping carts. Somebody gets behind him and goes, hey, did you see the game last night? Did you see what NC State did? All of those things matter. So I think that's part of the challenge for State is how can you make sure that this run is talked about when you're not around by recruits, by prospects, by high school coaches, by AAU coaches, long beyond April 8th. Whenever the national championship is.
What as a program have you done recently that you can do for me?
Exactly.
That's how players are thinking nowadays.
And you want them answering that question even when you're not around. That's number 3. Let's get to number 2.
Just the two of us.
The Carolina Hurricanes at home tonight against the Boston Bruins. 2 of the 3 top teams in the NHL Eastern Conference standings face off tonight in PNC Arena. The Canes are third. They have 101 points. They've clinched a playoff spot. The Bruins are second, 103 points. They've clinched a playoff spot. But that does tell me 2 points. You know how you can tie this up. Start working towards home ice. Start taking advantage of those things. This is also, we're at the point in the season, and we're going to talk about this more later on in the show, where there's a game within the game. This is a potential Eastern Conference Finals match.
Yep.
What do you want? You play them twice in the next 7 games. Tonight, and then you play them on the road, 4 games from now. What do you want them to see? Right? The easiest way, and hockey is a different beast. It's more fluid. It's more free-flowing. But, the easiest way to think about this is to think about it in football. Late in a season, if you're playing a team that there's a chance you could play them in the postseason, you want to make sure you put all of your stuff on film that you have something set up off of, right? So if you have an awesome play action off of a pitch, you want to make sure you run the pitch against them late in the season. Then in the postseason, you're more likely to run the play action, right? See if they'll bite on it because they've been watching it on film all week. So keep in mind here that this game and the game 4 games from now, whenever it is, where they play Boston, is your final image in their brain of another contender. What do you want them to see? Now, maybe that is you don't want to break out a certain pairing that you're going to definitely use against them in the postseason, but you don't want them to get used to it. You don't want them to get those rhythms down. Maybe you care so much about catching them in the points race and being the second seed in the East and having that home ice that you're like, no, I'm not changing the way I play at all. We're going pedal to the floor. But it is something to be aware of. There is that game within the game where, you know which teams are going to be in the postseason now, right? Clinched spots means there's a chance you're going to see them in what might be the most important series of your season.
You also, if you're the Hurricanes, want to prove that if this is, as you mentioned, a future into maybe an Eastern Conference final, which we hope it is, that you can get scrappy. You can get aggressive.
Or maybe it is you just want to beat them.
That too.
Maybe it is you think, and by the way, that's not the most this isn't calculus here, but maybe it is like you just want to hold the mental advantage of going into a postseason series. Like, yeah, we won the last 2. Have that little bit of swagger going into that. Maybe that's it. But you want to think about what your last image is going to be. It's your closing statement.
You already won the first meeting.
There you go.
With Spencer Morton. The Spencer Morton debut
game. That was Mom's
game.
night, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was.
They had the moms up in the stands. That's number 4. Let's get to number 5. The one! DJ Burns versus Zach Edey. The matchup of all matchups. What would we call it? The unstoppable force against the unstoppable force.
Yep.
It's not even DJ Burns as the unstoppable force he's beaten immovable objects.
Andre Giant versus the Big Show.
It's yeah, exactly. Actually that's pretty good because I think Andre Giant was like 7'4", wasn't he?
Yeah.
At least that's what he was listed at. Let's hear from Casey Morcell because in the NC State media availabilities today, they were asked about facing Zach Edey and how do you prepare for a guy like that?
I mean, I would say that, of course, they play a lot through Zach Edey. They play a lot inside. They look for a lot of duck-ins. We haven't played anybody like Zach Edey all year, but I think we're just going to have to be physical. We're going to have to be physical and have to try to push them out and avoid the duck-ins. And then at the same time, just keep being us, holding teams to one shot and done, and then running as much as we can in transition.
It's... First of all, Casey Morcell is always the same, and I respect that about him. He's always a little bit of coach speak with just a hint of insight that makes you think he's not just giving you coach speak. You haven't played anyone like Zach Edey all year.
Yeah.
Being yourselves, limiting them to one shot, that's the hard part. That's I want to know how, right? Sometimes you ask, like, how do you do it? People give you what they're going to do without giving you the how, right? Hey, you're playing Zach Edey. Well, we have to limit him to one shot. Okay, how are you going to limit him to one shot? The dude's 7'4", 300-plus pounds. It's not the easiest thing in the world to just go, we're going to limit him to one shot. Matter of fact, it's really hard to do, right? Just like other teams saying, well, we can't get pushed around by DJ Burns. It's like, well, if it were that easy. It's not that easy. And these two teams going into this game, they know how difficult each challenge is, but I still get the feeling there's going to be something we see that we haven't been clued into yet. I think there might be immediate double teams. Purdue shoots the heck out of the three, which makes it difficult to defend Zach Edey with a double team because if they get it out to the perimeter, they can knock him down. DJ Burns is a fantastic passer, which makes it difficult to defend him with a double team because he can beat you with his vision and his passing out of the double team. Could either come up with a way that they can double team the big without getting killed with the next move. If they can do that, that's the ball game, right? If NC State can double team Zach Edey and be so good and so crisp and so mobile with their rotations that they're not giving up open threes, that's the ball game. That's how an upset happens. And on the flip side, if you can double team DJ Burns and somehow muddy his passing lanes, which no one's been able to do, at least not that I've seen in a long time, that's the ball game.
Yeah.
Those two guys, they're not who they are for no reason. They're who they are because they're really good.
Remember how Gary Hahn mentioned yesterday on Pat Therapy that I can't remember what team he said, maybe it was Tennessee, that they were triple teaming Zach Edey at times.
And I didn't watch the game, but I would assume that Purdue killed them with the three. If you triple team them, you're going to leave one of those sharpshooters open, unless your rotations are like unbelievable.
Seems like with Purdue, it comes down to two things: you either rely on them to beat you with Zach Edey, or you rely on them to beat you with outside shooting.
I think, and we need to point this out, and fouls.
And fouls.
They draw a ton of fouls. I saw there's like, I forget how long, I'm going to botch the stat because I don't know how long back it went. I think it was like the last 5 years. There had been 5 instances of teams that had been called for 10 more fouls than their opponent. Purdue was the one with the lesser amount of fouls in 3 of them in the last 2 years, something like that. It was unreal. They were called for 12 fouls, their opponent for 26, something like that. You can't let that happen. If they're scoring at the line and they're scoring in the post with Edey, which he will get his, and they have those shooters, you can't let it happen. You have to be really, really, really disciplined in not fouling. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Coming up right next, we have the numbers game. The prize for today's game, $25 gift card to Salt and Lime in Cary. Salt and Lime, experience the coastal cuisine of Baja, California. Always great food using fresh ingredients daily. Fun for the whole family. Visit both Raleigh locations, Falls of Noose Road and Grove Barton. Also online at saltandlimecabo.com. The $25 gift card will go to one of you, but you have to call to win. You have to call to play, and then you have to play to win. The phone number to call in, 919-860-5326. 919-860-5326. Numbers game coming up next.
Hey, Dennis Cox here for my friends over at Loan Pronto. Imagine this time next week waking up and being 100% debt-free. I'm talking no credit cards, no car loan, no personal loan. Loan Pronto's Equity Express line of credit can make it all happen. Homeowners are turning their home equity into cash almost instantly. With Loan Pronto's AI-based system, you can get approval in about 10 minutes. With almost no documentation, no appraisal, and no hassle, you can get hundreds of thousands of dollars out of your home. Use that money to pay off all your other loans. The average homeowner saves over $850 a month doing this. Listen. Your home value, it's way up. Use that to wipe out all those credit cards. Get that money out you need for that home improvement project. Literally hundreds of thousands are at your fingertips, and approvals just minutes away. Call now, 919-381-1760, 919-381-1760, loanpronto.com, 919-381-1760, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval, equal housing lender.
Get crazy, Canes fans. It's hockey night in Carolina.
He scores! Dmitry Orlov picks the corner, and the Canes take a 2-1 lead.
Storm Watch with Adam Gold at 6:30. Puck drop at 7.
Second chance, they score! Jesper
exclusive home for the Carolina Hurricanes. 99.9 The Fan.
What are you doing?
I'm training for the new Ultimate Dash Scratch-Offs. I could get a chance to dash through a warehouse full of prizes.
That explains the shopping cart.
Plus, I could win up to $2 million in cash.
And that explains the tuxedo.
I'm chafing.
Feel the rush with new Ultimate Dash Scratch-Offs from the North Carolina Education Lottery. Must be 18 to play. Approximate overall odds of winning are 1 in 3.78. Problem gambling helpline 877-718-5543.
Is your heating and air system ready for hot weather? Call Newcomb & Company today to schedule a routine maintenance and ensure your system is operating at peak performance. Become a Comfort Contract customer to receive priority service and a 15% discount on service calls and repairs for HVAC and plumbing work. Newcomb & Company has served the area as a Carrier Factory authorized dealer for more than 3 generations. Turn to the experts today. Call 919-862-3000 or find us at newcombandcompany.com. Newcomb & Company and Carrier. Your comfort is our business.
Getting ready to take on spring? Make your first move with the reliable performance and power of Steel battery tools. From hedge trimmers and mowers to string trimmers and more, save on select Steel battery tools. Right now, save $50 on the FSA 57 battery trimmer set. Real Steel. Find yours at steeldealers.com. With AK10 battery and AL101 charger. Offer valid for a limited time only while supplies last. See participating dealer for details.
Discover BetMGM, the sports betting app North Carolina sports fans turn to for nonstop buzzer-beating action all season long. You can take the hard-hitting excitement of March matchups to the next level with a lion's share of promotions and betting options. Hey, it's Victoria Vodnecker here for BetMGM, and whether you're cheering from courtside or from the comfort of your couch, BetMGM keeps the adrenaline pumping with every dunk, three-pointer, and buzzer beater. Join the excitement now with BetMGM. Plus, every time you make a wager, you earn BetMGM rewards points, which means you can turn the convenience of online betting into real-world rewards at one of MGM's signature resorts and more. BetMGM and GameSense remind you to play responsibly. See BetMGM.com for terms. 21 plus only, North Carolina only. Gambling problem? Call 877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov.
The future of medicine is here at QC Kinetics. QC is the nation's leader in the most exciting revolution in pain management we've seen in decades, regenerative medicine. If you are tired of achy joints, if your joint pain is keeping you from doing what you love, you need to call QC Kinetics now. Surgery, steroids, drugs, these are no longer your best options. Regenerative medicine at QC Kinetics is transforming lives with innovative treatments that deliver lasting results. We're talking natural biologics, using your body's own power to repair and restore damaged tissue. QC Kinetics is under the leadership of National Medical Director Dr. Mitchell Sheencup. Dr. Sheencup is a pioneer in this field with 20 years of clinical work, tons of research, teaching, and publishing. He wants to get you relief with a needle, not a knife. Call QC Kinetics now to learn more about some exciting options. This is a revolutionary approach that can get you long-term relief with no downtime. 919-400-5473. With locations in Cary, Clayton, Raleigh, and Wake Forest. 919-400-5473.
Now is the time to switch to Spectrum. Get Spectrum Internet, delivering fast and reliable speeds for just $49.99 a month. Plus free advanced Wi-Fi for enhanced security and a free Spectrum Mobile Unlimited line with nationwide 5G. Ask how you can get a Visa Rewards card up to $500 when you add more mobile lines. Internet, advanced Wi-Fi, and mobile. Get it all with Spectrum One. Go to Spectrum.com for full details. Offer subject to change. Valid for qualified residential customers only. Restrictions apply.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. This seems to be happening decent amount this week, but that second line came open once again. So we have Jeremy and Apex on line one, and with the line opening up there at the last possible second, we're still looking for another contender in the numbers game. So call in right now, 919-860-5326. The Salt and Lime gift card could be yours. 919-860-5326. Call in right now. Graham will get you up and rolling right into it. In the meantime, by way of being the one that's stuck on the line, Jeremy in Apex, you get to go first. Are you there?
Yes, sir.
All right, cool. Congratulations. You get to pick your category. The categories are NFL, Killer Bees, all players with the last name that start with B. NFL Arizona State alum, kind of in honor of the Final Four taking place in Phoenix. Major League Baseball, these are Major League Baseball players. And NHL Canes and Whalers only. Which category strikes your fancy?
Let's go NHL Canes and Whalers.
NHL Canes and Whalers. All right. The way this works is I read the team and the player. You give me the jersey number as quickly as you can. I do still say the team in this category, even though we know which one it is, just to keep the timing fair with the other categories. There's 30 seconds on the clock. You do have one pass if you need it. Any last second questions?
No, sir.
All right. Your time will start when you hear the horn. Jesperi Kotkaniemi, Carolina Hurricanes.
82.
Correct. Elias Lindholm, Carolina Hurricanes.
38.
Incorrect. Derek Stepan, Carolina Hurricanes.
56.
Incorrect. Elias Lindholm, Carolina Hurricanes.
18.
Incorrect. Derek Stepan, Carolina Hurricanes.
Pass.
Chris Versteeg, Carolina Hurricanes.
72.
So you got one. You got Jesperi Kotkaniemi with 82. Lindholm wore number 16 with the Canes. Stepan wore number 21 with the Canes, and Versteeg wore number 32 with the Canes. I think I'm getting pretty good at like placing what kind of callers we have. We've been doing this for a while now. You strike me as someone that's a big Canes fan, and the lights came on and you froze up a little bit.
That's right.
Yeah. All right. It's just every once in a while I'm like, oh, he knows this, and right now he's going to be mad at himself. But don't be. Try to give yourself a break. At least you got one.
All right.
Next up, we have Kenneth and Carrie, who got on the line while Jeremy was rolling along there. Kenneth, are you there?
I am indeed.
All right. You're going to roll right into the mix here. We need you to pick your category. That is. The options are, I should say, NFL Killer Bees, NFL Arizona State alum, or MLB?
We'll go with the Killer Bees.
Killer Bees. All right. All players whose last names start with the letter B. They're NFL players. I'll give you the team and the player. Give me their jersey number with that team as quickly as you can. 30 seconds on the clock. You do have one pass if you need it. You need to get two in order to win the game. Any questions?
No questions.
All right. Your time will start when you hear the horn. Dez Bryant, Dallas Cowboys.
25.
Incorrect. Odell Beckham Jr., Baltimore Ravens.
17.
Incorrect. Dez Bryant, Dallas Cowboys.
15.
Incorrect. Odell Beckham Jr., Baltimore Ravens.
Pass.
Isaac Bruce, St. Louis Cardinals.
35.
Incorrect. Dez Bryant, Dallas Cowboys.
24.
Incorrect. Odell Beckham Jr., Baltimore Ravens.
Oh, that was terrible.
Well, it wasn't good. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it for you. Would it have Dez Bryant? There's a bunch of Dallas wide receivers. They all wear the same number. It's Michael Irvin. It's Drew Pearson. It's Dez Bryant. It's CeeDee Lamb. Any help there?
Really not. I'm a Raiders and Panthers fan, and I'm blanking on.
All right, well that's fair. Again, like I said, sometimes the lights come on and it doesn't hit you. Dez wore number 88 with the Cowboys. Odell Beckham Jr. this past year with the Ravens wore number 3, and Isaac Bruce, who was a Hall of Famer from the St. Louis Cardinals, or that should have been St. Louis Rams. Number 80 is what Isaac Bruce wore.
Well, to be burned in my brain now.
There you go. Thank you for playing. That means the winner, by way of going first and picking up the Jesperi Kotkaniemi, is Jeremy in Apex. Jeremy, congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
There you go. You were a little down on yourself, but you get the Salt and Lime gift card anyway. So we appreciate you for playing, and congratulations.
Thank you. Have a great day.
You too. Wait, sit on the line. Make sure Graham can get some information from you to make sure you get your prize.
Okay.
There you go. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Quickly here, something really cool that happened. If you listened to this show earlier this week, I ran through a list, and I believe you can find it on our YouTube page, 99.9 The Fan. I ran through a list of kind of, I don't want to say all, because there actually was there's been a few people that have reached out that have given me more ways. But I put together a list of like 7 or 8 things that are very, very similar between NC State's 1983 run to the NCAA championship and this year's run to the NCAA championship. Things like the team they beat in the Elite Eight was a team they had beaten in the ACC tournament. In '83, it was UVA in both. In this year, it was Duke in both. They beat 2 in the ACC tournament run to championships that they both got. In the ACC, there was 2 in-state teams that they beat plus UVA. There's seniors. There's a whole bunch of stuff that adds up where they're exactly the same. And then there's more that came from you, even in other parts of the bracket. UNC losing to a SEC team was suggested by a listener. But it's cool when kind of past meets present, and that happened. This week, NC State was able to put members of the 1983 team in contact with this year's team, which allowed them to glean a little bit of insight, right? Take a little bit of advice. What was it like for you? What should we be looking for? How did you do this? And I think that's smart, right? There's no reason when you're on a run like this to leave any piece of possible advantage not taken advantage of. So I just thought it was cool, and I wanted to pass along that NC State's players heard from the 83 team. Matter of fact, we have some audio here. DJ HORNE, one of the leaders of this year's team, spoke with the media, and he had this to say about speaking with members of the 1983 roster.
We talked about it a lot, especially really early on in the season when we were setting our goals for the season. The team actually would come around and speak to us and everything, so it was good to hear from them and hear them share their memories and everything that they were able to build from that run. And it's just crazy to still have those in the back of your head and remember some of the things that they said and kind of feel that now during this run.
DJ HORNE continued after speaking with them about what stood out from speaking with the 83 team.
We talked about it a lot. I would just say just the fact that, seeing them kind of old in their age now, the fact that they still interact with each other the way they do. They say they can pick up the phone whenever. I think that really stood out to me, and that's why you play the basketball. It's not about right now. It's about later on in life, building those connections and everything.
There you go. By the way, I have to give a shout out to on Twitter. Canes upside down logo said, "Fun fact: no one in Donnelly Sports list of Canes in the numbers game are playing for the Canes tonight." That's a shot at Jesperi Kokiniemi. Has that been confirmed? He's not in the lineup.
Ouch. Let me go look and see. I'm sure our good friend Corey Lavalette will probably know because he's
Walt Ruff.
Corey Lavalette and Walt Ruff are like the only people that are covering games right now for.
Well,
for
a lot of the local media is enjoying Phoenix right now. But Jesperi Kokiniemi, a lot of people believe once everybody gets healthy, will be a very expensive inactive player. Either way, I want to tell you about my friends over at Capital Financial Advisory Group, and of course that includes Coach Pete. The life insurance that you thought you knew, your parents' version of life insurance, is a thing of the past. Embracing game-changing amendments to the world of life insurance can help you along the path to retirement. If you're ready to learn about the practical ways you can utilize life insurance in your financial plan, no one does it better than Coach Pete. No one really likes to talk about life insurance, but the new improved life insurance can get you pumped on some alternative strategies. Get this. Coach tells me you could even use the death benefit to pay for any long-term care expenses. Best part, tax-free. It's one of the many benefits of the new generation of life insurance. Coach Pete and the fiduciary planning team at Capital Financial Advisory can walk you through the best way to put your policy to work for you and your financial future. What are you waiting for? Call Coach Pete and his team today. Call right now, and Coach will walk you through and also hook you up with a copy of one of his best-selling books. Be sure to tell him I sent you. Call 800-691-3215 or text TIM, T-I-M, that's T-I-M, to 600-700. Again, that's 800-691-3215 to call, 800-691-3215 to call, or you can text Tim to 600-700. Make sure they know we sent you. The Canes are playing tonight against the Boston Bruins. We're going to set that one up in a second. Graham, you have something for us?
From our good friend Corey Lavalette on Twitter about 50 minutes ago, Kokiniemi is out. Foss will play. Anderson to start in net.
There you go. So our guesses were correct. We'll talk about that coming up next.
I have to confess, I was very excited to call 911. Finally, a good one, you know, like, and I realize that while what I'm about to say is true, it sounds suspicious. So I'm like, my wife fell down the stairs.
From his multiple Netflix specials, comedian Tom Segura brings his new tour, Come Together, to PNC Arena Raleigh, April 14th. Tickets on sale now at Ticketmaster.com.
A torn ACL, stress fracture, aching back, a hip that's had it, life on hold, and all you want is to get it back. Enter Wake Orthopedics. Our fellowship-trained orthopedists do it all. General, sports, pediatric, joint replacement, fractures, spine, prevention, advanced diagnostics, progressive treatments, minimally invasive procedures, surgeries, and more. Visit wakemed.org/wakeortho and get back your life.
Hey, North Carolina, Adam Gold here, and you can say goodbye to busted brackets like mine because FanDuel lets you bet on every game of the tournament. Whether you're betting on a big upset or a 1 seed, it's time to go dancing with America's #1 sportsbook, and that's FanDuel. And you can bet on everything from the money line, who's going to win, over-unders, to which team will win it all on an app that's safe, secure, and super easy to use. Take the court with $200 in bonus bets, win or lose, when you place your first $5 wager. Go to FanDuel.com, promo code AdamGold to get started. FanDuel.com, promo code AdamGold. FanDuel is America's #1 sportsbook. Must be 21 and older and present in North Carolina. First online real money wager only. $10 deposit required. Bonuses issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See full terms at FanDuel.com/sportsbook. Gambling problem? Call 877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov.
It's bow time. Something new just dropped at Bojangles. Take the bold taste of a crispy golden chicken supreme that's been seasoned to perfection, then add dill pickles, Carolina Gold barbecue sauce, and a toasted bun that's great on the go. What do you get? You get a Bo's Bird Dog. In fact, you can grab 2 of them for $5. So when you're on the go, headed to practice, or need a snack, grab a Bo's Bird Dog. Hurry in before they're gone. Available for a limited time. It's bow time.
There's no time like bow time, but sometimes it's go time. No time to stop. Introducing Bojangles' new Bird Dog, a seasoned to perfection Bojangles Chicken Supreme, dill pickles, Carolina Gold barbecue sauce, all on a toasted bun. Great on the go. Try 2 Bird Dogs for just $5 or a 2 Bird Dog combo for just $8. Hurry, Bo's Bird Dogs are available for limited time only. When you're hungry for flavor and value, it's bow time.
Tim Donnelly here, and I want to tell you about Fox & Bailey Watch Shop located inside Bailey's Fine Jewelry in their Village District location. They have all of the watches you could possibly be looking for. It's a space that pays tribute to the early days of Bailey's Fine Jewelry, and some of the watches, they pay homage to the early days of classic vintage timekeeping. We're talking pre-owned and vintage Rolexes. They have a large selection, the largest selection of pre-owned and vintage Rolexes in North Carolina. They have an Omega boutique on the other side of the store that is the second largest of its kind in the country. Omega has been the official timekeeper of the Olympic Games since 1932, so when every second counts, Omega, well, they always come through. Go ahead and check it out. It's all at the Fox & Bailey Watch Shop and their Omega boutique located inside Bailey's Fine Jewelry at their Village District location. I'm a huge fan of awesome timepieces, and that's why I love Fox & Bailey.
Now, during Staples Print Big Sale, get $20 off your print purchase of $100 or more, $50 off your print purchase of $200 or more, and $100 off your print purchase of $300 or more. So the more you print at Staples, the more you save. To demonstrate, print at Staples, you save. But if you print at Staples, you save. See how that works? Staples Print Big Sale. Print more, save more. Up to $100. Ends 4/6. Visit staples.com/print for details.
Hey, what are you doing up on the step stool?
About to clean these light fixtures. The whole family's coming over. And if there's even a speck of dust in the house, my abuela will find it.
Here, I got a Swiffer duster to help with that.
A Swiffer what?
A Swiffer duster. It has this cool extendable handle that reaches 6 feet to get high and low, with fluffy dusters that easily trap and lock dust.
So, no more step stool?
No more step stool.
Easily trap and lock dust from hard-to-reach places with the Swiffer duster. Love it or your money back.
Get a great deal this spring on a new Trane heating and cooling system. Trane systems are engineered to keep up with you. Visit TraneInfo.com to find your local independent Trane dealer and learn more. It's hard to stop a train.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Two of the top three teams in the NHL Eastern Conference standings face off tonight in PNC Arena. Canes are third, 2 points behind the Bruins in second. Both have clinched a playoff spot. They're in different divisions, so they won't see each other till potentially the Eastern Conference Finals in the postseason. But these are two teams that are thinking they should be alive in the Eastern Conference Finals in the postseason. So there is a bit of chess going on here. This is like, we obviously right now we're talking about the tournament a lot, NC State making it to the Final Four. And I've quoted a few times this week Tom Izzo, who I heard speaking of something he learned from Coach K, which is you try to win weekends in the tournament. Right? You don't just say like, hey, I'm trying to win our Friday game. You say I'm trying to win our Friday and Sunday game so we're still playing next weekend. And because of that, you do a little scouting ahead, right? On Wednesday, you're looking at who you might be playing on Sunday. Those two teams on the other side of your little pod. I think of that similarly for teams like the Canes and the Bruins. Right? Once you get to the point where you're one of the top three teams in your conference, once you get to the point where you're one of the betting favorites to win it all, once you get to the point where you have 100+ points in your point category, your point column, you do start saying, like, I don't just want to win the first round. Coaches will tell you what? Coaches will tell you 1-0 every day. You don't look beyond the next game. You don't look beyond the first series. But coaches do. Right? Tom Izzo and Coach K definitely told their players, we don't look past the first round. There's no way we're looking towards Sunday. Meanwhile, they're turning around and telling their assistant coaches, hey, get a scouting report together for who we might play on Sunday. So there's no doubt in my mind with two very good teams facing off against each other in PNC tonight that the players are going to go. They're going to play. They're going to go try to win. The coaches may hold something back or intentionally reveal something, knowing that it could come back and help them against that same team in the Eastern Conference Finals. I also want to talk about what we kind of broke right before a break, which is Jesper Fast is playing, which means Jesperi Kotkaniemi inactive. This is kind of the for the first time in a very, very long time, healthy Freddie in goal. Healthy Jesper Fast, healthy Jack Drury. The trade deadline guys both playing. Kuzi, meaning Evgeny Kuznetsov, and Gensel. Everybody's playing. I think this is the first night we're seeing the postseason roster the way it was intended to be played.
Get excited.
Like, this is a dress rehearsal, right? Because if they keep doing the rotation, the next game will be Pyotr Kochetkov because you want to keep Freddie fresh. And then you're looking at, by the next time Freddie's in goal, you're down to 5 games until the postseason. You may turn around and start giving guys rest nights. You may turn around and start giving guys some days off. And you may want to work in someone like Scott Morrow, who signed his entry-level deal, 2 days ago? And if he's in there, that's not the way you design your postseason roster to be. So tonight might be the dress rehearsal.
Definitely could anticipate to see Scott Morrow play tomorrow night in a back-to-back situation like this.
Tonight against a playoff team at home, coming off a nice little break. You're right. You had the better part of a week off. This is the night where it's like, hey, this is what we are, boys, right? This is the team. This is how we assembled it. This is what we want to see from you when it comes to postseason play. Iron out the wrinkles. Get used to it, right? Skate with warm-up. Like everything is very dress rehearsal-like.
110%.
We used to do this in college, and it wasn't like a postseason thing, although we did have a true postseason. I played in the FCS football. But we used to have a walkthrough, which was right before our first away game. and it was just the travel squad, right? Because at home, you can have 100 people on your sideline, everybody dressed, everybody, part of the action. On the road, you're only allowed to dress, I think it's 63 guys. So on the road, we would do a full walkthrough with just the 63, and Coach would give a speech, and it would be like, this is the 63 we're depending on to win games. Tonight, the guys in that are active, that are dressed, that are going to be out there skating on the live action ice, Rod Brind'Amour can look at them and say, these are the guys we want to depend on to go win a Stanley Cup. Right? Yes, the Morrows and the D'Angelos and the Kotkaniemis, yes, they are a part of this team, and they're going to get rings if we win. And Spencer Martin is a great player, and he's a nice story, and we've hooked him up with $750K for next year. But this group is who we want to depend on to win a Stanley Cup. And this is the first time we're going to see them put together all on the ice for a game at the same time, all active, ready to play. I'll be paying attention to the line, see how Rod Brind'Amour kind of divides them up. But it should be fun. Like this is what we're hoping for. This is what you've been building towards. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Do we have a message here from Dennis?
Yes, we do.
All right, let's hear from our guy, Dennis.
Well, actually, we'll hear from him in the break.
Okay, never mind.
Based how the logs off. So Tim, sign us off.
There we go. By the way, Dennis is out in Phoenix, so the reason why he hasn't been joining us is because he is covering the Final Four, providing us with a whole bunch of audio content. And I can tell you, we have some clips from Zach Edey talking about the NC State and DJ Burns that will play for you tomorrow, which is a tease to make sure you're tuned in to The Drive tomorrow at 3.
And that means you're stuck with me again, folks.
That's right.
Tim.
We're excited to have Graham producing the show again tomorrow.
And get excited for one last pack therapy. We've been doing a week's worth of coverage, and now it's time for the Final Four countdown.
The Final Four countdown tomorrow. And be excited for Overdrive coming up next right after this. Speaking of Burns and Edey, how will those two match up against each other? That's how we started the show today. That's how we'll start Overdrive as well, coming up in just a couple of minutes. Enjoy Overdrive. We'll see you tomorrow at 3.
Dennis Cox here for my friends over at Underdog Sportsbook. As we all know, sports betting is alive and thriving here in the state of North Carolina. And if you want to get on the action, go to Underdog Sportsbook. Simple as that, folks. Here's the thing. Underdog Sportsbook, North Carolina, first place to get it. First place to get Underdog Sportsbook is North Carolina. I'm in Phoenix right now. I can't use Underdog, but before I left, I made sure I opened the app, and I made my picks, especially for the college basketball games this coming weekend. And the best part about when I open the app, it's a simple, clean, easy experience. It's easy to find exactly what I'm looking for. That's what makes Underdog Sportsbook app so great. So you can get on the action now by downloading the Underdog Sportsbook app on iOS or Android. Sign up with the promo code Dennis and use your first bet mulligan, which returns up to $1,000 as bonus funds if your first bet loses. That's Underdog Sportsbook. Promo code Dennis. Must be 21 plus to gamble and present in North Carolina. Gambling problem? Call 1-877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov or call 1-800-GAMBLER. Terms, conditions, and restrictions apply and can be found in the Underdog Sportsbook app.
NC State, Purdue, Bama, UConn.
The first Final Four ticket is punched by the defending national champions UConn.
And the Alabama Crimson Tide will roll into the Final Four. The Final Four will be heard here. 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader. Final Four coverage from Phoenix is built by Mungo Homes, building homes and dream teams for 70 years.
QC Kinetics announces the arrival of National Medical Director Dr. Mitchell Scheinkup, an acclaimed orthopedic surgeon with 2 decades of experience and extensive research in regenerative medicine.
I was one of the first orthopedic surgeons to do it, and at the same time I integrated clinical research that's resulted in several publications that are really directing the future of regenerative medicine. I was drawn to QC Kinetics after I reviewed their protocols, and everything they were doing is consistent with my own approach.
Today, Dr. Scheinkup leads the entire team of medical professionals at QC Kinetics, taking this exciting medical breakthrough to a whole new level.
What we are doing at QC Kinetics is transforming lives.
Get lasting joint pain relief. Call QC Kinetics now for your free consultation.
This is the future of medicine.
Call QC Kinetics, 919-400-5473. That's 919-400-5473. In Cary, Clayton, Raleigh, and Wake Forest, 919-400-5473.
Sanja loves to bake, but her feet, they were throbbing. Then one day,
I found a solution. Arch supports from the Good Feet store.
Have foot pain? Good Feet could help.
You too can live the life you love with arch supports from the Good Feet store.
Organize easy. Organize tough. Customize your work truck or van with upfit solutions from Van Products. Steel and aluminum shelving, toolboxes, data files, cabinets, drawers, conduit carriers, ladder racks, everything safe and secure. Everything built as unbreakable as you by Adrian Steel. Backed by the best warranty in the business. 3 years, 36,000 miles. Everything custom installed by Van Products so you know it's done right. From a single work rig to a fleet, choose custom installed upfit solutions from Van Products.
Bobby Joe absolutely hated her job.
Can't hate that job any more than I do.
So, time for one of those fancy tech schools?
No, I could never afford that. I'm going to Sharky's.
Sharky's?
Yeah, no better place to relax. Great food, cold beer, good whiskey, darts, billiards.
So now you love your job?
No, I still hate my job, but I loves me some Sharky's. I highly recommend it.
Yeah, everybody loves Sharky's. Sharky's Place, one of the best neighborhood bars in the world. 5800 Durley Road by the Shell Station.
Tim Donnelly here for my friends at Zero Res. April showers bring May flowers. Well, how about this? Sitting on your couch in March brings crumbs and stains and spills on your carpet in April. That's where Zero Res comes in. Get your carpets cleaned. Not only is indoor air quality an issue year-round, but especially now that allergens and pollens are coming out of hibernation to invade your home. Get them all, the dust, the dander, everything out of your house using Zero Res. Get 3 rooms of your carpet Zero Resified starting at just $105. And if you get your air ducts cleaned, they'll clean your dryer vent for free. That's a $165 value. Call my friends at Zero Res right now. 919-995-0000 or go online at zeroresnc.com and say you want the 99.9 The Fan special. Zero Res. Spell it backwards or forwards. It spells the same, and your house will smell clean.
Thanks for calling Discover. This is Gabby.
Hey, Gabby. It's Jennifer Coolidge. Hi. I'm so glad I reached you at 2 a.m.
Oh, of course. Anyone with a Discover card can call and talk to a real person 24/7. Now, how can I help?
Yeah, I used my Discover card to buy these yellow pleather pajamas, and I'm just not sure I'm pulling them off.
24/7 U.S.-based customer service. It pays to Discover. Limitations apply. Learn more at discover.com/creditcard.
Without the ones like you, who work tirelessly to keep things running, everything would suddenly stop. Hospitals, factories, schools, and power plants, they all depend on you. No matter the weather, emergency, or time of day, you're the ones who get it done. At Grainger, we're here for you with professional-grade industrial supplies. Count on real-time product availability and fast delivery. Call, clickgrainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
This hour on the Triangle Sports Leader is brought to you by the Ritchie Law Firm Injury Lawyers.
You can feel the madness!
Go to GotBryan.com. That's GotBryan.com.
WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. Take us with you on radio, web, app, Alexa, and YouTube. 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
You're invited to Sanford's 150th birthday bash, Saturday, April 6th, 10:30 a.m. to 4. This is a free event happening at Sanford Fairgrounds. Get all the details at sanford150.com. Overdrive is brought to you by Habitat for Humanity Restore, now selling brand new solid wood custom cabinets. Learn more at trianglerestores.org.
We're in Overdrive on 99.9 The Fan. Today's key highlights and opinion from the Drive with Tim Donnelly.
The most anticipated to watch matchup of the upcoming weekend will be not you think it's going to be 2 teams, right? UConn and Alabama. Think it's going to be NC State and Purdue. No, the most anticipated watched matchup of the upcoming weekend is an individual matchup mixed within one of those games. It's DJ Burns versus Zach Edey. Part of it is because of the pure visuals of it. There aren't many people walking around that are 6'9", the size, the weight, the strength of DJ Burns, and there are even less walking around that are 7'4", the size, the strength of Zach Edey. And how those two teams decide to guard each other could easily be the thing that decides who advances to the national championship and who had a solid run to the Final Four. We've had some media availabilities, some locker rooms being open today, so we had a chance to talk to the teams. We mentioned that our very own Dennis Cox is out there covering the action. He grabbed some audio for us. Here's DJ Burns on what's being discussed about guarding Zach Edey.
Oh, we're just scouting him up the way we would anybody. He's a tall guy, and that's a good advantage, but, we're not treating him any differently.
I hope that's coach speak.
Fair enough.
I hope it's coach.
Okay, DJ.
You're not treating him any differently. He's 7'4", and he's averaging like 30 points a game in the tournament and 15 rebounds. I mean, I'm all for not, putting anyone on a pedestal, but not turning them into a superhero or a comic book villain. But at the same time, you better have something cooked up for him.
I mean, look, NC State's going to have their game plan for Zach Edey, but I kind of see where DJ Burns is coming from as far as, look, it is what it is. It's kind of like how other teams probably look at DJ Burns. Like, until you go out there and face him, that's really all you can do as far as preparation.
Well, I'm not sure I agree with that one. I look at it like other teams playing DJ Burns, they better know if they're sending a double. They better know if when they're backup center in, if he's actually trying to defend or if his nickname is 5 fouls for the day. Like, you have to know how to attack these guys because they're different. And if you go in saying, oh, we're gonna do the same thing against Zach Edey that we did against Quentin Post from Boston College because he's another 7-footer, you're gonna end up getting put on a poster. Like, there's a reason why Zach Edey is who he is. There's a reason why Player of the Year. There's a reason why he's put up the stats he's put up. And you have to prioritize either stopping him or maybe you go full, every once in a while you see someone do this where you're like, hey, Zach Edey, get your 35 and 18. We're going to stop everybody else. There's two ways to go about it, but you better have a plan. Don't just treat him like every other run-of-the-mill 7-footer. DJ Burns was also asked, how do you simulate guarding Zach Edey when they are practicing?
I mean, you can't really simulate height, but you can shoot some hook shots and, make some good moves.
How do you think they simulate you?
I have no idea. I hope it's a double team.
This first of all, I love that he said, I hope. I should explain what happened there. So the first question was that he started with his answer was, how do you simulate Zach Edey? And he said, you can't really simulate height. Right, the way to do that, and we've seen it in the past with other like legendarily tall shot blockers,